It's time to add some spice to your nooner. Nooner funny. This is the place where big-time guests, bold opinions, and little cute doggies come together. This is Rothman and Ice.
Sponsored by Pella Columbus, the #1 rated windows and doors in Columbus.
So where's the office back at Division? In the office, baby. Going up.
Probably how he arrived at the golf course today. I can hear it. You're in the office, baby. Absolutely right. Rothman and Ice, Anthony Rothman, Scotty Vegas in for the Iceman today. And we would rarely start with a guest. It's kind of a no-no in the radio biz. The host kind of start, and then you bring in the guest later. But when you have a leadoff hitter, the way we do out here at Cumberland Trail Golf Course, supporting Gigi's Drive for Dogs and our mutual friend Tina Skestos and her wonderful shelter, my man Jim Tressel, a decade as head coach of the Buckeyes, national championship, 9-1 against Michigan, and of course supporting our mutual friend, Lieutenant Governor. I salute, and look what happened. You're back to being an assistant coach.
Isn't that the truth? But you
Welcome.
know, I'm not really a guest. I'm a regular.
That's true.
So I'm just like Scotty. You know, I come in on.
That's right.
In from the bullpen.
Give me that right-hander.
That's right. I'm a lefty.
I know, exactly. All right, so it's good to see you, my man. Everything good in your world, Lieutenant Governor? I know you spent a lot of time with your former players the other night. You can tell us about that. We'll get into kind of the state of college football, but everything good in your world?
You know, it really is. It's busy. Working with Governor DeWine is a tremendous honor. I mean, he's just first class, and he cares about all 12 million of these Ohioans, and tireless worker, great listener, always wants every conversation when we're trying to make very important decisions. He's a special guy.
It's very good. I'm excited. Are you? It's funny. It's ironic to me that we all in the media, you were nicknamed the Senator, and then you actually went into office. Do you find that ironic?
Yes, yeah, very ironic. It certainly wasn't part of any goal sheet or any plan or anything like that. But when the governor asks you if you'll, serve, it's hard to turn down Governor DeWine, and he brought the First Lady Fran DeWine in when he made the pitch, and I knew it had to be important because she's pretty special, and so. But no, it wasn't part of the plan.
You were on the other side of being recruited. How'd that feel?
Yeah, it was interesting. I thought he was coming to ask me to help him on some committee or whatever, and so yeah, it was a surprise.
You never kind of shied away from the importance of the Michigan game. We've talked about it for years, you and I thought it was interesting. Listen, you handed Urban Meyer 9-1 against Michigan. And then he hands Ryan Day 7-0 against Michigan, the inherent pressure there. And then Ryan does almost the unthinkable this year, pulls that off after the loss to Michigan and wins the national title. So I'll ask you this way, and I don't even know if you could answer this. Winning the national and he got an extension because he won the national championship in dramatic fashion, and why not? But they could have given him his bonuses and whatever he was due after winning the national title along the way, and it came off the heels of another loss to Michigan. Are we in an era now where that does outweigh the Michigan game now? That winning the ultimate prize, not that it takes away the importance, but he got an extension off a Michigan loss and winning the national title. Doesn't that prove a little bit that the ultimate prize is always the goal?
Well, I think if you have good leadership, you have people looking at the full body of work. And yes, we didn't win the Michigan game, but you look at that full body of work this year, and really since he's been there, Ryan's done a great job, so it is a different world right now. There's a different. We were talking a little bit, Scotty, about postseason and all those kinds of things, and it's a different world. But I just think you look at the way he carries himself, the way he takes great care of his players, the way his players represent Ohio State. You're going to lose some games. That happens. But if you really think about it, our last 3 national championships were after great suffering. Think about our seniors in 02. They'd been 6-6, 8-4, and 7-5. They'd had enough. You think about Urban's coaching change, no bowl game, lost their quarterback, lost to Virginia Tech early in the year, lost another quarterback. Suffering. Suffering does something for you. The suffering, with us losing the rivalry game, there's some real positive to everything not going just perfectly. And so, I'm a real believer. Everyone says, you have to build resilience. You have to build resilience. Well, the only way you get stronger in the weight room is you overload your muscles and you tear them down a little bit and they grow, right? That's the only way you do it, in the game of football as well. And so I'm not surprised he got extended. I would, if someone asked me my opinion, I would have said absolutely you extend him. One of the great young coaches, in the country, and I think in this day and age, I think you have to be really careful about when you change your coaching staff, because you can get a lot of exodus of players. It might take a little bit longer to get your own culture. And, I know we're live on the radio.
No, I know, but if that's Ellen, I want you to take it.
I have to take this
right,
real quick.
You take a timeout.
All righty.
And that's interesting. That's awesome. Because you know where I wanted to kind of develop with Scotty, and I can ask you this, and I'll ask him this when we come back, is when the pressure, when he arrived here, and he had the famous speech, the pressure that when you came to Ohio State, you felt more pressure to win the Michigan game than you did the pressure to win a national title, I imagine. They hadn't won one since Woody, but you must have felt that was, if I could hand pick it, if I could say, hey, you're going to win a national title but have a losing record against Michigan, or you're going to go 9-1 against Michigan but never win a national title, you would have chose the latter?
I was so young and dumb when I came that I wasn't feeling the pressure of anything. I knew what was important to the players.
True.
I knew what was important to the fans. So I absolutely wanted to kind of turn around the trajectory of the rival game. But, I don't know that I sat around. The one thing that I think you really get in trouble if you're a coach or a player is when you start thinking about what's the final result. You have to think about, what am I doing today? And so many people get caught up in, I wonder if we'll beat Michigan. Well, we got a lot of work to do in the winter and the spring and the preseason, and got to get better every game, and all those kinds of things. And in fairness to Ryan, I think my first 7 years or so, Michigan was really good. I mean, they were really good. My last 2 or 3, they were not quite Michigan. And it took them a while to become Michigan again. And, Harbaugh was 0-5 or something, right? And they suffered. And they'd suffered enough. And so, in fairness to Ryan, he met some really good Michigan teams who they'd had enough of. In the rivalry game, I suppose if you won half of them, you could live with it.
Yeah.
Right? But those Michigan kids hadn't won, 18 out of 20 or something?
That's right.
And that's all they heard about, And so, in fairness, timing is very important. The game is still an emotional game, as long as you have capable talent. Now, if you have great emotions and you have no talent, you might play well for 2 quarters. But if you got some guys and you have the emotional edge, and that's where I thought was helpful for us going in the playoffs this year. I thought we had the emotional edge in every game, just the way it lined up. So Tennessee's coming in here, and everyone's talking about, they're going to come to the Horseshoe with all their fans, and we had just lost our rival game, so we had the emotional advantage. Well, then Oregon, they had beat us earlier.
Right.
It's hard, so we had the emotional advantage. And then who do we have next?
Texas.
everyone's talking about, Texas and this and that. And I felt watching Texas throughout the course of the year, they were nowhere near as physical, as the Buckeyes and Michigan. They weren't as physical as Michigan. And then going into the final game, I don't know if we had the emotional advantage or not, but we were really good. And so we were emotionally fine because we were on a mission. And, Notre Dame was good. And we got off to the start, but, Notre Dame didn't fold.
That's right.
And then all of a sudden, with 4 minutes to go, the momentum was not in our favor. And, then we made the big play. And so you can't discount on an even field, not when the talent is desperate, just
That's
big difference, but on a even capable, if both teams are capable, who has the emotional advantage?
Now, Coach, you talk a little bit about Michigan and the suffering, and now we're kind of in an interesting time with Michigan, right? Because the signal stealing scandal that took place. In your opinion, what should be a reasonable punishment for Michigan for what's been going on over the last several years?
The one thing I thought that we needed to make sure we did when all that junk was going on was don't get caught up in thinking about that. Let's tackle them. I don't care if they know what play we're running or they know what play we're running. But, let's just be, let's don't think about that. Because the minute you start thinking, oh, that's an advantage or that was an excuse or, so I kind of threw that away. I don't know what the whole deal was there. It sounds like it was horrendous. But I also know that by the end of the first quarter, we hope we do know their signals. If they're playing cover 2, and we hope we know what the secondary, in the loud environments, they're always signaling, they did this, okay. Oh, they played cover 2. Okay, we know they're playing cover 2, which means we know what their front is, and so I don't know. I wouldn't want to diminish the discussion going forward by talking about, what happened backwards. And so, whatever they get, they get. I mean, that's their biggest problem, Michigan's, will be, we won, 2 or 3 in a row?
4.
Is it 4? We got them. Well, the minute they think that, as good as we are, so I don't think too much about, yesterday, because I should be thinking about today and how do I get better, and not worried about what some group of guys with bow ties on, are thinking about, what they're gonna do with something that I have nothing to do with.
Former national champion coach Jim Tressel with us out here live. Gigi's Drive for Dogs at Cumberland Trail. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. Want to get the coach's opinion on the state of college football and whether he would have enjoyed this era. That's next. Rothman and Ice on the Fan.
If you miss a live show, you can catch the podcast. If you miss the podcast, our hosts have volunteered to have dinner with you.
The meatloaf!
The Fan.
Get summer blockbuster savings at Coughlin Kia, Central Ohio's largest volume Kia dealer. Right now, take up to $6,000 off MSRP on any new Kia in stock. Plus, get free maintenance for a full year when you buy. Get any new Kia with up to $6,000 off MSRP. Visit CoughlinKia.com.
Coughlin has the car for you.
Largest Kia dealer based on current ground stock at all 4 Coughlin Kia locations. 2025 Kia Sorento XY. MSRP $47,990. $3,000 Coughlin discount. $3,000 factory rebate. Residency restrictions may apply. See dealer for details. N7725.
Hey, it's Anthony. Comfort is king. We all strive for it, but life gets in the way. You know that. And oh, my aching feet is not just a cliche. That's why the Good Feet store, in my opinion, has the best arch support solutions engineered to help you and me live the life we love without pain. For more than 30 years, they've taken great pleasure in helping thousands discover the comfort they've been dreaming of. I'm a customer. I have their 3-step system put right into all my shoes. They support, balance, and strengthen my feet and really guide them right into their ideal position. Every step I take, every move I make, I get relief. Not from the song, although I love that, but from my personally fit arch supports from the Good Feet store. Your free fitting is designed to help them understand you, your pain, and your discomfort, your personalized system. You'll walk out wearing your new arch supports hassle-free and begin living the life you love without pain. The Good Feet Store on Stringtown Road in Grove City or Polaris Parkway. Learn more at goodfeet.com.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. T&Cs apply. Available in app only.
With over 33 years in business, Newman Roofing believes white glove services shouldn't be a thing of the past. From the first call, you'll be greeted with friendly professionals to answer all your questions. Special financing options available now, so call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF or visit newmanroofing.com.
Don't sweat it. Call Care Heating and Cooling and we'll fix your air conditioner fast. 1-800-COOLING.
Hey, it's Anthony Rothman. From sold-out stadiums under Friday night lights to more than 100,000 screaming fans on the banks of the Olentangy. America's football capital is right here in Ohio. But the greatest football players and coaches of all time live up the road in Canton at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And a trip there should be on every football fan's list. Go to 971thefan.com/goldjacket and enter to win a VIP experience to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Ignite the passion. Relive the glory.
All your favorite and least favorite fan shows are available wherever you get your podcasts. Just type in 971 The Fan to the search bar and hit that subscribe button. It's free.
We're the land of the free and the home of the sunburnt, freckled fat guy.
Do it now.
Got a teen athlete? Then you know putting in the hours is all part of the game. But did you know the same goes for learning how to drive? Because just like playing a sport, learning to drive takes practice. The only difference is the stakes are even higher. 50 hours of practice time driving with you? Worth every minute. Gear up at teachyourteentodrive.ohio.gov.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty. Do you want to sell your property, however, you need a little help getting through the process? Let's say you have years of belongings in the home. It needs a lot of updating, you're overwhelmed, and you may need help finding a place to go. I will help you. Visit us today at TurboTrackRealty.com or call me now for an all-cash offer and, more importantly, the help you need at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Hey, it's Anthony for my friends at Germain Honda of Dublin. Summer savings, Rich is backing it up. He has rates as low as 0% and leases starting from $249 a month. How about a 25 Honda HR-V LX CVT two-wheel drive? Lease it for only $259 a month. 36 months, 30,000 miles with only $30.39 down. And all trades deserve a sweetener. He's giving you an extra $1,000 for yours. See them for all the details. Germain Honda of Dublin, Sawmill Road, just south of 270.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We're looking at sunshine, some clouds this afternoon with a high near 85. And then heading into the weekend, we're talking about the heat. More sunshine near 90 here on Saturday, but mid-90s and heat index values near or over 100 here starting on Sunday and continuing into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday here next week. I'm meteorologist Aaron White with your 10 weather impact forecast here on 97.1 The Fan.
Bet365, the official online sports book of Rothman Ice. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Anthony used to ski in his jeans? Are you serious? No, he's not from New Jersey. Back to Rothman and Ice.
Indeed we are. Rothman and Ice, Anthony Rothman, Scotty Vegas in for the Iceman today, and the legendary Jim Tressel with us. Lieutenant Governor now in Ohio and former national champion coach. So back in, when you guys were going to the title that year, I was doing the studio with my, God rest his soul, my best friend Demetrius Stanley. And we wanted to go to that game. We thought we deserved it. We were young, entitled sports guys. And Clay Hall, my other great colleague and friend, was the field guy, as you know. And so our general manager at the time there at Channel 6 and Fox 28 said, no, you guys know your role. You're the studio guys. You do pre and post, and Clay will handle it out there. It's a lot of money, but we just need our guys anchoring in the studio, which did make sense. I'm not
Sure.
going to argue that. And I had been at the station since '94, and I went up to the general manager and I said, I would rarely never say this, but I do believe I have this coming to me. And I said to him, in 30 years, which we are now, I said, no one's going to remember who covered that game, but I'll remember that I was there. Didn't do anything. Didn't crack the surface. So I went and I played my ace in the hole. And you know what I said to him? What if they win? And he said, well, they're 14.5-point underdogs. This Miami team is unstoppable. And while everyone will be rooting for them, that's probably not going to happen. And I said, but if they do, you can't cover it with one guy. You can't do it. It's not logistically possible. He can't be getting player interviews and covering press conferences, and it got it done.
Well, I knew there was one guy in the media that was with us. Now I know who it was.
I didn't say you were going to win.
Okay.
I said, what if they win?
What if?
That got it done. Anyway, and it was one of the greatest 24-hour cycles of my career.
Oh,
and that national championship.
Were you even alive, Scott?
Yeah, you know what, Coach?
How old were you?
I was in college.
Okay,
I was
right.
my freshman year at OU, and I was on Christmas break, and it was one of the best memories that I can ever have, watching that with family, and obviously just incredible for all of Buckeye Nation. But Coach, I wanted to ask you from that game, because we've had a lot of people come up and you've signed a lot of autographs and memorabilia. Is there anything that you keep from that national championship game or that national championship season? Because the first thing I think of is you being Gatorade being dumped over you, and that sweater vest, that scarlet sweater vest, and it just goes through my head. It's like, I wonder if Coach still has that sweater vest and or any other memorabilia from that season.
I don't have that sweater vest. I think they sold a lot of those.
Game used, though. That was worth a lot of money.
This was Michigan,
today.
Whatever year, and this was, and so I think Buckeye Club or somebody sold those years ago. The thing that I can think of that I have is I've got about a 4-inch wide binder that kind of covered everything we did from the day after the Michigan game through the end of that game. Just the plan and the game plans and the trip logistics, and we had a daily thing we worked on with our players from a mental standpoint, and so I have that binder, but I can't think of anything else that I have from that game.
So, okay, you guys win the national championship, and you come back and next year try and defend that national championship. Now, Ryan Day has that same challenge this coming season, right? Ohio State wins the national championship, and now the challenge is, okay, you're going to be one of the favorites to repeat and do it again. Talk to us a little bit about that next season, because obviously you're coming off the high of winning it all, but you want to keep your players, your coaches, everyone hungry to do it again. What are the challenges to try and repeat a national championship?
Oh, the challenges are great, obviously. What I recall from that year, which was a great lesson and a little bit of suffering like we talk about, by the time we're going into the Michigan game, if we win the Michigan game, back then they took 2 teams, okay? We're going to be back in the championship game. And the great lesson I had from that is I didn't do a great job of staying focused on the Michigan game. I think I let the natural thought of, hey, if we win this, creep in. And so that was a valuable lesson. I think Ryan's situation is a little bit different in that because of the playoff thing, and I lived the playoffs for 15 years, working on getting better every day, knowing that you're probably going to meet 4 of the top 10 teams at the end of the year in a row, it was a natural thing to be thinking through it. And we didn't, after Akron stopped playing us at Youngstown State, we didn't really have that last game of the year thing. But no, there's no question. You you lose a lot of good players. We had a great team coming back in 2003. Lost the key one when we lost Maurice.
Right.
You know, that was a real missing link because he was really critical to 2002. But, you know, players get hurt or you lose players or whatever all the time. You got to deal with it. And so we had a really good team. We had a very mature team. We fell short in the Michigan game, but I'll never forget going into bowl practice. We were selected to play in the Fiesta Bowl, which we had just been to. So I thought, that's not as exciting.
Back to Sun Devil Stadium.
You know,
Was that Kansas State?
It was,
yeah.
yeah.
And, it's Kansas State. That's not a marquee name like playing Miami or Notre Dame or somebody. I thought, man, this is going to be a job. And we had a great group of seniors, 5 of which I think were taken in the first round or something. I mean, we had great players. And I thought, boy, this is going to be tough for them. They're not – a year ago they're playing for the national championship. You know, are they going to be thinking about, you know, what about my NFL career? First day of bowl practice, one of the most astonishing things I've ever seen. We're in our team meeting. Will Smith says, I need to say something to this group. And he walks up to the front of the team meeting room and he said, hey, look, I am not losing 2 in a row in my final season at Ohio State. So you guys better practice like this was the national championship or you're going to hear from me. And, I mean, the place was like, no coach could have said that.
No.
Right? That was Will Smith, who didn't even need to come back for that season. He would have been a first-round draft choice if he'd left early. And so, you know, we were fortunate that we went out and played a good Kansas State team and had a good win and so forth. This will be a different thing. It's also a little bit different. You know, some teams maybe you graduate a great senior group, you know, and it's like, ooh, we're going to have to get some guys some development time and so forth. You know, in this day and age, you can go out and get some experience. You know, if you have a key position or two, like, ooh, we need a this or a that. So it's a totally different world, but it's still hard. And if you can do it, how many teams do it?
The difference is, in my mind, and I'll ask it this way, it may not be easier or harder. That may be the wrong way to go, because depending on if you don't get the bye, you had to do what Ohio State did. That's pretty tough, like you said, to line up that gauntlet of teams.
All the guys that got a bye lost the next week.
Yes,
right? So
because
I don't
they may have lost their momentum or their edge. Or what. You had big breaks between Michigan and bowl games.
Right.
And that's always tough. But my point is...
But so did they.
True. But in your era, you essentially had to go undefeated.
Yeah. Yep.
You'll get more at-bats now because Ohio State theoretically will be a top 12 team most years. You'll be in the tournament.
Yep.
Do you think it's easier to win a national title? Easier? I'm not saying. I'm saying that with all due respect. Easier because you're always going to get an at-bat, but the road might be harder or longer. Or your era, where if you had one misstep, you may not be in it.
You know, the easier, harder, I don't know. The percentages might tell you that it's percentage-wise harder if there's only picking 2 teams. And wait a minute, hold the phone.
Ellen.
All right.
We got an Ellen timeout, which is great. And you want to talk about a loving husband. Let's take a 2-minute break right now, and I'll let him answer that question. Jim Tressel with us live, Rothman Ice on the Fan.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was going to unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Introducing the new Dell AI PC powered by the Intel Core Ultra processor. It helps do your busy work for you, so you can fast forward through editing images, designing presentations, generating code, debugging code, summarizing meeting notes, finding files, managing a schedule, and responding to Jim's long emails. Leaving all the time in the world for the things you actually want to do. No offense, Jim. Get a new Dell AI PC at Dell.com/AI-PC. How those ahead stay ahead.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to Hims.com/joy. HIMS.com/JOY.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times?
You're playing the lute. Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Rothman Ice is sponsored by your local Pella Window and Door showroom on Gemini Parkway. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Anthony finally hit a hole-in-one.
It's in the hole.
So now what? Just bask in the glory? And that's how she wrote. You're listening to Rothman and Ice.
An outstanding start to the weekend. Rothman and Ice, Anthony Rothman, Scotty Vegas in, and one of my favorites all time, Jim Tressel here, the former national champion coach of Ohio State. I noticed you had someone come up here with a picture from 02 and you signed it. It was a personalized thing. And they put on the note, can you sign it to my biggest fans?
Right.
And it made me think of this line.
He was a pretty good-sized guy.
Yes, that's right. And by the way, when you sign stuff, you've always written Yay, Ohio. Was that in honor? Woody used to do that, correct?
Yeah, Woody used to do that.
Is that where you picked it up, or is what your own thing?
Yeah. Well, he was the only first one I saw do it. But I tell you how I picked it up was, you get hundreds of things. And they, you take like once every 2 weeks, you go into this room and they got them all there. And I just got bored. And, go Bucks, go Bucks, go Bucks. And I thought, I'm going to sign. Well, then I started having people requesting, hey, don't put go Bucks, put Yay, Ohio.
Yeah.
And so,
okay,
anyway,
good. No, I like it. It's very unique. And it reminded me, so I laughed for a second. It reminded me, in the sequel to Rocky and Rocky 2, they start the movie, he's healing in the hospital after the first big fight with Apollo Creed. And the nurse comes in and says, would you sign this to my son? His name is Charlie Flynn. And he's starting to write it, and she goes, can you say, to my good friend Charlie Flynn? And he writes that, and then she leaves the hospital room, and he's sitting there by himself, and he goes, to my good friend Charlie Flynn, who I don't even know.
That's right. That's right.
It kind of reminded me of that. Yeah. All right, so would you have preferred this era as far as, and we can get into the NIL stuff, but this era of, you'll have talent, you'll get in the tournament, gauntlet might be tougher, you won't know the health of your team, then your era, which is, if you lose one game, you don't control your own destiny, so to speak.
I've never gotten into wishing. You know the rules of engagement.
Okay.
When I got to YSU, they had 16 teams in the playoffs, and we were in the Ohio Valley Conference. And so I knew, hey, we're going to have to win the Ohio Valley Conference, or at least have a great record, because rules of engagement are 16 teams. Well, then all of a sudden we were independent. Akron left, if you remember, and went to the MAC. The Ohio Valley asked us to leave. They didn't want one just Ohio team, so we were independent. Now we didn't have an automatic bid. That was the rules of engagement. We had to have a record good enough, and we knew the people on the committee were from conferences. They didn't love independent. You can bet all those conferences wanted Notre Dame to have one more loss, right? Because they wanted one more of their people. So when we got to Ohio State, we knew that it was the BCS, and they were going to pick two teams. So, you can whine about it and wish that it was like it was back at YSU. Which one do I like the best? And Scotty and I were talking off the air. Here would be the way I would like college football the best. I would like one less regular season game and 16 teams in the playoffs. Because I think there was a little bit of a momentum breaker for those people that ended up with the bye. And it's a little different than the NFL, because the NFL's got grown men who have been playing 17 games and they're older and so forth. There's something about young people staying on a groove, and that was a little bit of an advantage for us this year, that we didn't have time to, mess around and so forth. When the playoffs started, we had to go through
3 weeks, I think.
We had to go through that period of grieving and being not happy about the way the regular season ended, but that fueled great practices and great conversations.
Would you dump the conference championship game?
Probably. Yep.
Well, yeah, because in your era, there was no Big Ten conference championship game, right?
So, well, and, I used to always laugh and was people talk about, well, you got to have a championship game because you want to know for sure who the champion was. And I thought, well, 1954 or something like that, Ohio State says they were the Big Ten champs, and so does Michigan State. And they both have parties and reunions. That's not so bad. Who cares about that? But
it's kind of like good in golf. We don't have to putt those 3-footers. We both made them.
But I would have a shorter. I worry about the length of season.
Okay. Would you, this era, more agents than parents?
Yeah.
You wouldn't be used to that.
No.
Trying to recruit a kid who then not only once you get him, trying to keep him, retain him, comes back to you, says, I need this, I need more. Now, you just said you would have, whatever the era was, you would have the rules of engagement.
Adapted, yeah.
But knowing you, I can't imagine. But you came through it at a different era. Everyone has a different experience.
Well, the thing that I've talked for the last couple years with guys like Marcus and Luke and Ryan and guys that if you think team building and culture was important before, it is twice as important today because the rosters change so dramatically. The rules of engagement are different. There's something about all of the guys suffering and being broke and, going back and 4 of them living together. And, there's some team building that happens naturally. Now there's a little bit of a caste system. Somebody might live in an apartment out here and drive this kind of car and, so forth. Now, I must say, I think for 50 years we didn't treat the athletes right, and now we're living with our past sins, if you will. And when
making up,
it's like I always say, it's like if you ate 79 donuts. When the heart attack happens, it might be fatal. Well, we went for 50 years, and really the last 40, because we knew when TV was deregulated, and you could now play more than 5 times every 2 years on TV. You could play as much as you want. You could start your own TV stations. You could stream. You could do this. You could do that. You knew where the revenue was going. You mean you didn't think about who else could, maybe benefit from this revenue? And nope, we're just going to keep it ourselves. So I'm not shocked it happened. It's our fault as a governing body that it happened. But it does create a different scenario, and team building and that's where I think Ryan was masterful this year. Now, it always helps when you have some mature kids, especially some mature kids who have suffered.
That's right.
If you think about some of those guys, they were like, okay, after that Michigan game, this will never happen again, and we're going to win it all, and they led them to do that.
You guys had something real quickly in common with your championship team and this team, in my mind. I've never seen as talented of teams also be doubted.
Right.
That's such a recipe. It doesn't happen.
That's helpful.
Of course, and that's what happened to this Ohio State team and your team. Yep. As good as you were still very much doubted you could be on the same field with Miami.
Right.
Now, Coach Tressel, so we're out here at a golf course. We're raising money to save dogs. Gigi's has done an incredible thing.
Amazing.
We're raising money.
Amazing.
They've saved 17,000 dogs. You were showing me pictures of Scarlett and Gracie.
That's right.
Your 2 beautiful dogs. Now that we're out at a golf course, I'm thinking golf. Let's go back, and if you were to do a foursome with any college football coaches in history. So it's you and 3 other college football coaches that you could golf with for an afternoon. You could pick any 3 guys, living or past. Who would be the 3 coaches that that would round out your golf foursome?
The first thing that popped into my mind was, well, I don't golf, but the only ones that I have ever spent and threw away those 4 hours of my life, golfing with were Coach D'Antonio, Coach Bowman, and Coach Alice. We played 9 holes twice a year, and if you broke 60 for 9, you had a chance to be medalist. So immediately I thought of my real foursome of coaches. So I would say mine would probably be my dad, who was a great coach, Tom Landry, who was one of my idols, and if you'll allow me, I'll go with another sport, John Wooden.
Okay.
John Wooden was, as I was growing up, he was winning 10 national championships, but it was more than that. It was the kind of man he was, and then I read everything he ever wrote or anything that was written about him. So I would say those 3 if I had to go with the coaches, and, obviously all 3 of them aren't with us anymore.
When you got to Youngstown State, I had heard that you moved the Akron game so you could watch or experience the Michigan game. You moved it to Friday. Did you do that?
Yeah, but it wasn't so I could watch or experience the Ohio State-Michigan game. It was because I wanted someone to come to our game.
So it wouldn't conflict.
So it wouldn't conflict.
Okay. That makes more sense.
Reason,
that makes more sense.
And I thought it made no sense. When I saw the schedule, when I first got there,
that's your rival, though.
It was
Akron.
I know, but if you're from Ohio, and if the Akron-Youngstown game was on at the same time, and
crickets,
and the weather would happen to be questionable, or your teams weren't very good, you weren't going to get anyone. And it was really prophetic because we played on a Friday night, and we were 1-9 at the time. So you think?
Why'd you want people to come to the game?
And it was at home, and it was sell a couple boxes of popcorn, I guess. Yeah. But and they were 8-2, and so. And it was a little bit of a disruptive thing. Neither team had played on Friday night before, and you get into that emotional part.
Right.
So it was a shorter week for them. Everyone thought that they would win, as they thought they would win, and we ended up spanking them.
Their first year,
40-39.
That's awesome.
We spanked them.
Can I ask one more question? Because I've wanted to ask Coach Tressel this for a very long time.
And I've got one more, too.
You're not that old. You can't be that long of a time.
Look at this guy.
But, okay, I was in the shot the day that you made your speech about 310 days in Ann Arbor, Michigan in the classroom, in the community, in the football field. I wanted to ask you about that speech because it's one of those that has completely stuck with me as far as sports speeches go of all time. When did you think that speech up? What was that day like? You had just been hired as the head football coach. You go into the basketball arena, and then the arena just erupts that night. So talk to me a little bit about that day and how that speech got started, or was this just something that was on the fly that you thought of?
Well, it was the first kind of public, outside of the media, the press conference. And they said, hey, you got to go do this, you got to go do that. I said, I got to get on the phone recruiting. And they said, well, look, we'll get you over the basketball game. You can use one of the back offices, make recruiting. And then at halftime, we're going to introduce you. And I thought, oh, this will be great. There's nobody in that arena that knows who the heck I am. I'm from Youngstown, 1AA. I thought, okay, whatever. And so we walked out there, and guys, talking and, introducing. And there was thoughtful applause. It was nice. And then he handed me the microphone. And I was like, wait a minute, they didn't prep me and
do your act.
Yeah, right. They didn't prep me about the microphone, right? And so I just kind of looked at that group who had thoughtfully clapped. And then I thought, I know what's important to them. So why not just bring it up? And I knew what was important to our players because I had met enough guys. And there were actually Joe Cooper and Steve Bellisario were on the interview committee. So they got to ask questions. You got to get a read from what the kids were thinking. And so I knew what was important to them. And I thought, what do I got to lose? I'm going to make sure that everybody in here knows that I know what's important. Little did I know, I was coming from Youngstown State. We didn't have national TV basketball games or whatever. I didn't even give it any thought that I was talking to the whole nation. I thought I was just talking to the Buckeye faithful and maybe to my team subliminally.
Yeah. I remember jumping out of my seat at the shot right when you did it, so it was amazing.
It was so perfect because it wasn't guaranteeing victory. You used the word proud, and I thought that was very crafty. And then you knew the days, which you always have, and I would be if you know I'm going to do my job right now. Are you running? Will you run for governor next year?
In 310 days, is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
You know
How many
what?
days till you run for governor?
You know what? I have a great boss, and one of the things he told me the day he asked me to come do this, he says, hey, wherever you go, they're going to ask you if you're running for governor. He said, you don't even know anything about this yet. And so you might be tempted to say, I'll never do that, or you might be tempted to say, of course I want to do that. He said, you're not going to say anything until you've experienced this for a while. And what I've learned, too, the governor's got great wisdom. He said, we don't want to do anything to distract the conversation we're having to set this 2-year budget because it is so important to so many parts of the state of Ohio, and it gets contentious and it gets difficult. And he said, we got to keep our eyes on the task at hand. And I thought, you sound like a coach. You know, so I'm going to follow the directions of my boss and say, haven't given it any thought.
Okay. It wasn't a no. It wasn't a yes. It was kind of just straight down the gut.
Kind of like I used to always answer your questions. Huh?
Jim Tressel will let you be the ceremonial starter.
Okay.
And
Excited.
The grand
Gigi's
marshal here.
amazing. What they say,
17,000
over their time.
Dogs
that would not be here without
without
them.
Think about the impact on those families.
Unbelievable.
I mean, crazy.
Paying forward for
Crazy.
sure. Coach, thank you.
All right, my
Lieutenant
pleasure.
Governor, thank you.
I miss being with you guys.
Isn't that well? We can do it again.
Okay. All right.
Listen, you're not teaching any retirement classes. You're not good at that.
Well, you know, I flunked retirement.
Absolutely. I was trying to get some advice from you.
Right.
Great to see you.
All
Be
right.
well,
Yes,
best
sir.
to the family and
Thank
the
you.
animals and everyone.
All right.
Thanks for being here.
Yep, sir.
We'll come back next, and the cavalcade continues. My friend Jean-Luc Grandpierre. We'll talk Jackets off-season next. Rothman and Ice on the Fan.
We're the girthiest radio station in the history of radio. Uncomfortably girthy. This promo is uncomfortable. The Fan, Ohio's girth destination.
At Kroger, we've lowered prices on over 1,000 items across our stores so you can save even more. Whether you're shopping in-store or online at Kroger, we've lowered prices on thousands of the items your family wants and needs. And with lower prices, your dollar goes further every time you shop with us. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Right now, Heritage Farm boneless chicken breasts are on sale for just $2.49 a pound with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
It's a different world today than it was 30 years ago when I started Care Heating and Cooling. This is Mike Weens, now the retired founder of Care Heating and Cooling with my sons, Dennis and Ryan.
Dad, 30 years ago, you were the first to warn of companies using service technicians as salespeople, of abusing the trust that a service technician has. With the big conglomerates now buying companies all over Central Ohio, this has become the normal business model.
It's all about greed. The conglomerates know they can make a lot more money by incentivizing their technicians to sell air conditioners instead of fixing them. They train their techs to take advantage of a customer when they are the most vulnerable.
Dad, that is not how we were taught. In 2024, Care Heating and Cooling was awarded a BBB Torch Award for ethics and was named the Lennox Partner of the Year. You don't earn those awards by leaving cat toys behind.
Call Care Heating and Cooling at 1-800-COOLING or schedule an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com. When you need a company you can trust.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. Summer's heating up, and so are the deals at Germain Toyota of Columbus. Whether you're cruising to the lake or hauling your weekend gear, Germain, well, they've got the truck to help you get it done. Right now, get 2.99 APR for up to 72 months on the rugged 2024 Tacoma, or step up to the powerful 2025 Tundra, also 2.99 for 72 months. These summer savings, they won't last forever. So visit Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road, or online at germaintoyota.net.
A healthy body needs good food. This summer, the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce is sponsoring Sun Meals, a summer food program where kids eat free. Children under 18 receive healthy meals and no sign-up is required. Locations may be right in your neighborhood. Call 1-866-348-6479 or visit education.ohio.gov/kidseat for meal locations and times. That's education.ohio.gov/kidseat.
Newman Roofing is proud to sponsor The Fan and 10 TV's Beat the Heat fan drive. Help Ohio's most vulnerable residents deal with the extreme heat this summer. Purchase new box fans and take them to the nearest Franklin County Fire Station or buy online. For more information, go to lifecarealliance.org.
Central Ohio contractors and homeowners. 3D Cabinetry is your go-to for fast, hassle-free service from order to install. 3D Cabinetry delivers fully assembled all-wood affordable cabinets. Visit 3dcabinetry.net today for your free consultation. That's 3dcabinetry.net.
Morning Juice is now on YouTube weekday mornings starting at 6. If you're a fan of Bobby Carpenter, he's ready to attack and dominate. If you're a fan of Jeff Dunoff, drive directly to a hospital. Seriously, The Fan.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify.
Level up your summer projects with 4th of July savings on top brand cordless power tools from the Home Depot. Whether you're working on a fence, a planter box, or a new workbench, get the power and runtime you need with the Ryobi One Plus 18-volt 2 toolkit from the Home Depot for only $99, was $139. Get 4th of July savings on the cordless power you need to make summer projects easier than ever. Right now at the Home Depot.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Matty is a diehard Reds fan. I mean, where else is he going to go? You're listening to Rothman and Ice.
Look at this. One of the original Jackets just strolling through. What a great dude. Jean-Luc Grandpierre, former Jackets defenseman, analyst now. Never afraid to put on a headset and talk hockey, and he's going to be golfing today. Good to see you, my man.
Great to see you.
All right. The most pressing thing this offseason for the Jackets is what?
Most pressing thing? Figure out defense and goaltending. I think those are the number 1 and 2 priorities right now.
Goalies go up and down in this league. Yep. Number 1 goalies are rarely given away. Do we have a true number 1 right now?
Oh, boy. There's so many teams that are asking themselves that question, including the Edmonton Oilers, who just went to the finals. So
true.
I think a lot of the blame goes back to goaltending with any club, unfortunately. It's not like, you look at all the position. As a parent, that's the last position I'll put my kid in because you always get the blame, right? You're the one person on the ice. When you make a mistake, there's a red light that goes behind you, and everybody points the finger at you, right? That's the only job in the world like that. So it's extremely tough and challenging mentally for these guys. But I think, for Elvis Merzlikins, I think he did not have a bad season last year, but you're looking at the teams that are really pushing to get into the playoffs. They're looking for more consistent goaltending. Mm-hmm. And, for Elvis, I think he's a true number 1. There's no doubt about it, zero doubt about it. But I think that maybe a change of scenery, unless the defense really get vamped out in front of him, but that's going to be a really hard job as well.
He's got 2 years left, gets paid a nice chunk of change, over $5 million, so he's probably paid like a number 1. Do you think that the way Jet Greaves ended the season, how optimistic are you that Jet could be a number 1 and be a guy that could play 50, 60 games? And also, in combination, would you allow that to maybe light a fire under Elvis? Not that you have to do that, but how would you play this out? And Tarasov certainly is in the mix. He's kind of a mystery.
Right.
So how would you view Jet now with the way he ended the year in competition with Elvis and Tarasov?
I love it. I think, the Boston Bruins did it. With Swayman and I forgot who it was. He's in Ottawa now, but the 1A, 1B option might be the best way to go about the situation. If you look at all the contracts right now, Jet, Elvis, somehow sharing the net. You know, and it doesn't need to be 41-41, but like even if one goalie gets 35, the other one gets 46 or 48, something around that way I think is going to be, that's the way I would go about it right now. If I'm not making any change at that position, would go with a 1A, 1B. So nobody gets 60 and the other guys get 20. It's going to be more of a 50-50. And it doesn't mean it's one game in, one game out, one game in, one game out. But, you know, you have hot and cold streak throughout a season, and you share the net.
So I want to go back to your playing days. I want to ask you the toughest player you ever fought on the ice, because, gosh, I loved watching you play. And this is a question I've had for a long time. So toughest fight on the ice in your career?
Okay, toughest fighter was probably Scott Parker or maybe, Sandy McCarthy. When I was in Buffalo, I remember I was 21 years old, and I ended up in a line brawl in Philadelphia. And Sandy McCarthy just happened to grab me, and I was like, oh boy. So there were fights everywhere, and when there's a line brawl, they go to the first fight, they focus on the first, then they focus on the second. Well, I was the third one, so my teeth are still here, so I'm glad I survived it. But that's probably one of the toughest guy I've fought.
Jean-Luc, where does your Bobrovsky wins it again?
Yep.
It's not like we offered him, right? I mean, he didn't really want to stay. And so I don't want the timing is weird, but do you allow yourself to think about the what if, or is that just a stupid game to play? Because even if he did accept the offer from the Jackets and was paid a lot of money, or $9-10 million a year, that it never would have guaranteed the success that he's had before. Remember, he was also a guy who was struggling a little bit, and there was a lot of thought that is he a gamer when it counts the most? But now that he's won it again, where are your emotions with that?
I'm happy for him. First of all, I think he was a great goaltender, brought a lot to Columbus, and I think the Blue Jackets, have to recognize that, hey, if a guy wants to be here, he's going to give you your all, but even it doesn't matter how much money you throw at one guy. If his heart's not in the right place, it's not really going to bring you success necessarily. So that's the way I look at it for Bobrovsky. And listen, every time Sergei's here, I talk to him, and he's the greatest guy, has nothing but great things to say about the city of Columbus. But for him, he just needed a change of scenery. And obviously that worked out the best for him.
Do you feel that you mentioned the defense real early, is Provorov, this is a weird timing with him, right? And the money and the years and what he would want. What would you do?
I'm glad I just get to comment on the good and bad signing, and I don't have to make them myself. But the way I look at it,
he's 28 now.
Yeah, 28. I'm so comfortable with him because he is so reliable. He's a gamer. He never misses game, right? He missed, I think, 3 games in his whole career, and that was because of COVID, so nothing he can do about that. So, but if I'm a GM, I'm thinking 7 more years. He's played a lot of hockey, right? So he's maybe 28, but he's got as much game as a guy that's 32 years old. Can he keep that up? And that could be a big risk, right?
Going that far in the future with a guy that age.
Exactly. But you're looking at it right now. That's what the league, they become free agent 28, 29. They sign 7-year deals. So you just have to adjust to this new marketplace. So from what I've seen from Provorov, he's a true pro. I would not hesitate to offer him 7 years. But we'll see what they decide to do. But, not another guy that there were a lot of question marks about was Vladislav Gavrikov, right? Way back then. And you look at him this summer, he's probably going to be signing 7 years somewhere. So if you play hard, you play the right way, you think he's got a lot of mileage on him, but somehow these guys still get those big contracts.
Look at that. We put you through the ringer right before you're going to go play golf. You came here to relax, and I'm hitting you with crazy questions now. Go swing a golf club, save some dogs. Good to see you.
Great to see you guys. Thank you.
Jean-Luc Grandpierre, the original Jacket, of course, the analyst. You see him all the time on the tube, and he's nice enough to stop by with us. We'll come back, SportsCenter Update, top of the hour, and Scotty and I will get into the biggest golf question of the year. That's next. Rothman and Ice in the Fan.
Just when you thought afternoons couldn't get any dumber.
You fellas been doing a bit of boozing, have you?
Common Man and Tinny.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
Your home for dumb. The Fan.
This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, where we've successfully treated thousands of men for low testosterone and helped them feel like their old selves again. Please take a moment and listen to how we helped Chad.
Hi, I'm Chad. I've been taking the low T treatment at Tri-State Men's Health for a little under a year now. So I was really just struggling with finding the energy to accomplish the things I wanted to do every day. By the end of the workday, I was very drained and tired and found it hard to concentrate and get my job done, and was looking for something to kind of get that edge back. Once I started taking the treatment, I felt probably within the first 2 to 3 weeks more energy. And the thing that really I noticed right away was sleeping. Now I get a solid 8 hours. I'm going on vacation. I'm enjoying myself. So men out there, if you're struggling with any of the symptoms I was, low energy, brain fog, lack of sleep, I would highly recommend you call Tri-State Men's Health. You won't regret it.
Thanks, Chad. It's true. Low T therapy will likely change your life. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com.
Hi, this is Bob Masheter from Dick Masheter Ford. Thank you to all of Central Ohio as we head towards 60 years of doing business in the Buckeye State. Dad opened up in 1967 simply trying to offer a better way to buy a car, and we've been working ever since to serve our neighbors. We have served you through wars, recessions, and even a Chinese virus. Here is to serving you and your kids and your grandkids for the next 60 years, except on Sundays when we're closed, because it's the right thing to do. Still 24/7 at masheterford.net. Thanks.
Sometimes I hear a sparkling sound.
Like when we say, all you have to do is point?
There it is.
That's the sound of magic happening.
Magic like we can come the day you call us? Wow.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Working your way through that honey-do list? That means more flushes, more showers, more fiddling with a thermostat. Trust the pros at the Waterworks with your plumbing and drain cleanings and repairs and all your heating and cooling needs. Our certified pros can repair or replace your furnace or air conditioner. Clogs? Call the Waterworks. Drain cleaning? Call the Waterworks. Plumbing issues? Call the Waterworks. Furnace repairs? Call the Waterworks. The Waterworks. Trusted neighborhood plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling experts.
The Columbus Zoo invites you to follow the footsteps and the tales of animals from around the world. Explore our newest region, North America Trek. So what are you waiting for? Get your tail to our trails only at your Columbus Zoo.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. HIMS can help. Through HIMS.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to HIMS.com/joy. HIMS.com/JOY.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times?
You're playing the lute. Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Cowan Man here. Let me tell you something. I'm on these Germain inter-office emails. At Germain Lexus, during the month of June, they've challenged themselves to sell more cars than they ever have in 1 month. What does that mean? Well, I'm stupid, but to me, that means they're willing to deal, baby. And the Memorial cars are on the lot. The ones the golfers drive for the tournament are now available to you. I've been a Germain customer for years, even before I started doing the commercials. If you're in the market, please stop in. Germain Lexus, 2 locations to serve you, Dublin and Easton, GermainLexus.com.
He's coming. Here he comes.
Surprise! Your table saw broke. Also, the warranty expired weeks ago, so you need to pay for a new one out of pocket.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Oh, and the replacement part you ordered doesn't fit, so it's completely useless. What a waste.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
We expect our information in real time. U.S. Med carries continuous glucose monitors, which provide real-time readings of blood glucose levels. U.S. Med is an approved provider for Medicare and over 500 private insurers. So call 888-665-0696 today for a free insurance and Medicare benefits check as easy as, that's 888-665-0696.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good afternoon. I'm Ryan Baker. It was a rough day for the Ohio baseball teams yesterday. They'll look to right that ship starting new series tonight. The Reds are in St. Louis to face the Cardinals at 7:15. Brady Singer gets the ball for the Reds. Andre Palante for the Cards. Coverage over on ESPN Columbus gets underway at 6:45. The Cleveland Guardians, they remain out on the West Coast for their series with the A's at 10:05. Tanner Bybee versus Jeffrey Springs, the pitching matchup. Over at Huntington Park, the Clippers continuing their series with the Indianapolis Indians at 7:05. We get a Game 7 in the NBA Finals. The Pacers stayed alive. They rout the Thunder 108-91. That forces that Game 7 in Oklahoma City Sunday night at 8. This one brought to you by Germain Toyota, the best selection of new and used cars in Central Ohio. You can view that selection of vehicles online at germaintoyota.net.
True to his name, Matty Ice wears a winter coat in the middle of summer. He lives the gimmick, man. You're listening to Rothman and Ice.
All right, welcome back. Second hour of the program. That was quite the power hour. Thanks to my man Jim Tressel for hanging out for basically the entire hour. Jean-Luc Grandpierre rolling by. We are at Gigi's Drive for Dogs golf outing, a shelter that's near and dear to my heart in Canal. Tina Skestos and her family. I've said this before on the air, and you know how much I have an affection for the animals, and you do too, Scott. And it's just to be able to support and see what they do every day is very cool to me. And you mentioned the amount of dogs that they've saved. Gigi's goes to rural shelters that are struggling financially with volunteers, employees, space, care. And they actually help relieve that pressure and take dogs from these rural shelters, bring them to Gigi's in Canal. They hired a wonderful behaviorist, Megan Herron, from Ohio State, who actually worked with one of my dogs. And they help rehab these dogs so they'll become more adoptable. And that's truly being a part of the solution. And not just, like I've told Coach before, stroking a check and thinking everything can be fine.
Oh, here we go. Coach Tressel got the outing.
But you didn't hit a ceremonial tee shot, did you? You didn't do a Jack Nicklaus?
But, Anthony, 17,000 dogs, more than 17,000 dogs.
It would not be
Gigi has helped saved. And I like what Coach Tressel talked about, how not only saving dogs, but think about all the families, right? Because you know all the times, like I've had a couple dogs pass, and it is one of the most devastating times in your family, right? When a loved one, when a pet passes, and it's absolutely miserable. So,
but you would never trade the years.
No.
To not go through that emotion.
It's 17,000 dogs saved is amazing, and they have an perfect day for golf out here, which is so cool. So we're Cumberland Trail Golf Club, and they're going to raise a lot of money. And guess what? That 17,000 that they've saved, it's just going to keep going up and up and up, and that's so cool. And I love what you do. I had 3 dogs running around my house yesterday because I love dogs as well.
It's listen. I know that their kids to a lot of people. They've been kids to me, and their happiness is my happiness, and there's nothing better in my life and more fulfilling than to see an animal safe, happy, and healthy. It's the greatest thing. I preach adoption. I've said it before. There somewhere right now, very close, there is a dog living most of its life in a cage, and that's why I preach going to the shelters. It'll change your life. It has for me, for sure. You dragged me out to the putting green here. We're at beautiful Cumberland Trail Golf Course. One of my favorite public courses in Ohio. And you dragged me out to the putting green, and you always do this to me, put a little pressure on me, which is fine.
Pressure cooker.
I failed the test today. But go ahead and tell me what you presented to me today, presented to the listener.
So, here's the deal. I said, Anthony, I'm going to give you a 10-foot putt. You have the options. You can attempt the putt, and if you make it, then you would be able to play every golf course that you wanted around the world whenever you wanted to play it for a year. Okay, so whenever you could go play Augusta, you could fly out and you could go to Scotland and you could play St. Andrews, and you can go to Quail Hollow, and you can go to Oakmont, you can go to all the major golf courses in the world. You have to make this 10-foot putt to do that. However, if you miss this 10-foot putt, then you would spend 10 nights in jail.
10 wonderful nights.
10 nights in jail, and you would not be able to pick up a golf club for an entire year. That's the deal. 10-foot putt. I know you. I've played hundreds of golf rounds with you. We've pro-am in the backyard and at Little Turtle and all that stuff. I know your game. I know that you are a terrific putter. 10-foot putt. You taking it with those stakes?
There's two things here. One, would I be able to see the putt, like see someone else putt it? Do I get a line?
No.
So okay, all right. Well, I mean that changes a lot of stuff. You don't know the break of the putt. If you're saying it's a pretty straightforward putt,
relatively straight uphill putt,
tend to read it. Here's where I would not do it. I would not do that. 10 nights in jail. 11 days, 10 wonderful nights. I'd probably shed a few. I mean, it'd probably be good for me. Maybe. Would I be in solitary confinement or in Gen Pop? Where are you putting? Is this maximum prison? Because I'm not coming out if it is.
No, I think you're in Gen Pop. Yeah, you're just kind of
white collar crime, maybe.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so
yes.
no fear of
10 full nights.
Okay,
then you're out. But you cannot pick up a golf club for a year. That's another part of it, right? I know how much you love. I don't know how much you love going up to Little Turtle and playing around a golf and going and chipping and putting and all that stuff. You have to put that away for a year.
So here's what I would say. First of all, the PGA Tour percentage from 10 feet is a lot less than what people think it is. These are the robots, the world-class guys of the world, the guys that can read, the guys that have made 100 out of 100 probably. But you're going to be surprised when I tell you the conversion rate for putts from 10 feet on the PGA Tour.
Well, I guess.
This is why I would not take this bet.
It's probably about 40% from 10 feet.
It's unbelievable. You're almost right. That's incredible you knew that. 41%. So if a world-class pro is 4 of 10 from 10 feet, I'm not doing that. Now, the other thing is, if you allowed me 2 putts at it, I would think about it. Because you know the second guy, second swing All-American, he's probably not missing. Now, with that pressure, you might.
Now,
we did this earlier, and I missed it.
You did miss.
And what happened right after?
I enjoyed it. I laughed.
No. Yes. After that.
Oh, yeah. Actually,
you apologized. Then what?
Amazingly, a cop car.
No. Before that.
Oh. Well,
Let Jake tell us. Pop on that mic. What happened right after that?
Oh, you made it.
I made my next 2.
Okay, that's true. You did make the next 2.
So it's.
But the best part of this story was we go out, we do this bit on the putting green, the 10-foot, and we are in the crosswalk, ready to walk back to the clubhouse, and the police siren and the lights come on, and in my mind, I'm like, oh my gosh, they know that they got to take you away for 10 days.
Tell the folks what you did to me about 15 years ago at the old station.
Oh gosh, this was one of the best pranks.
I'll tell you what, tease that.
It's one of the best pranks that I've ever pulled in my entire life. You were so nervous. You were giving me this scary stare, and it was one of the most fun afternoons I've ever had at work.
We'll do that next, and the pressure cooker, who goes in. And I have a golf scenario for you to consider. Rothman and Ice on the Fan.
We're the highest-rated sports radio station in America. There's no joke there. We just are. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Get your air conditioner fixed fast. Call Care Heating and Cooling. 1-800-COOLING.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Guys, listen up. How many of you out there have been diagnosed with sleep apnea? Maybe your partner can't tolerate your snoring every night. You can't stand your CPAP machine. I totally get it. But the good news is there are alternatives to the CPAP machine. And Dr. Mark Levy is here to change your sleep and your life. Trust me, your spouse will thank you later. Dr. Mark Levy can customize an oral appliance that opens your airways, helps you breathe better, and of course, stops your snoring. That's the main point. It's quick and comfortable and an alternative to those bulky, loud CPAP machines you always hear about. For over 15 years, Dr. Mark Levy has led the way when it comes to treating snoring and sleep apnea, and now he's expanding his practice to better serve his patients with a brand new location in Marysville. I love Marysville. If you're snoring and not sleeping, you need to call Dr. Mark Levy's office today. Do not delay. Schedule your appointment today with Dr. Mark Levy at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. You can also visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. And now, sleepbettermarysville.com too.
Looking to sell your home? Don't pay 6% commission. Call my guys at Sell for 1% Realtors. They're full service, not a do-it-yourself kind of thing. On average, customers save over $10,000. Give them a call, 614-451-6616. That's 451-6616.
Matty Ice here from McDaniel GM Superstore in Marion. Are you looking for an affordable family car? Then the Chevy Traverse is for you. This month at McDaniel GM Superstore, you can get up to $3,000 off MSRP on a 2025 Traverse. Plus, qualified buyers can finance at 6.8% for 72 months. They are just a short drive north of Route 23 in Marion, or you can visit McDanielGMSuperstore.com. McDaniel GM Superstore, where great deals meet a century of trust. Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, and it's no surprise. Same game parlay from Bet365 just keeps getting better.
Well, it's even easier to make a bet. Choose from the most popular markets like hits, run line, totals, and home runs. So many to choose from.
Download the app, start building your bet, and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. T&Cs apply.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. Skill Bridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify.
Much like a vampire, we need to be invited into your house. But once we're in, we never leave. Listen to The Fan on your Alexa or Google Home smart speaker. Just say play 97.1 The Fan and prepare to be amazed. Do it now.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, rental portfolios. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We're looking at some sunshine, but some clouds this afternoon with highs around 85. And then heading into the weekend, we're tracking the heat. More sunshine with highs near 90 here on Saturday, but mid-90s starting on Sunday with a weather impact alert issued here for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday with mid-90s in the forecast and heat index values near 100 here next week. I'm meteorologist Aaron White with your 10 weather impact forecast here on 97.1 The Fan.
Bet365, the official online sports book of Rothman Ice. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Rothman and Ice present Under Pressure.
Sponsored by 3D Cabinetry. 3dcabinetry.net, where quality meets affordability.
All right, Rothman and Ice, Anthony Rothman, Scotty Vegas, coming to you from the CT, the Cumberland Trail, one of Central Ohio's premier public golf courses, and they do it right. The views are great, the grill is great, and pressure cooker right now because I'm starting to get hungry. So all I have to say, I guess, here is yo Bob. Yo Bob. Bring her in, man. Woo! And since we're on YouTube, you guys will see it. So He brought us the honey chicken sliders, more wings, and this.
Oh,
wow.
Gosh.
Bob, you're the man. Bob, thank you, brother.
We got seafood, we got wings, we got chicken sliders.
This is where
Look at that asparagus.
And so you can come here and just eat at the restaurant. You don't have to play golf. It's all this is 11 to 9, 7 days a week.
A little
Love
hot honey.
And this, do you guys remember when the course opened? Was it in the 90s? It's right, because I first started in Columbus in '94, and I remember you guys opening. And every time I came here, I would tell people, these are the greatest greens around. I love this place. Can't wait to see it again. Thanks, Bob. Well done. Whew. Wow. No more pressure. That food looks amazing.
Can we take a break and start eating?
I'm reconsidering the scenario. I have to admit, the second putt in your scenario, if I miss it, I go to jail for 10 days and I can't play golf for a year. The second putt, if I got two of them, the second putt would have equal amount of pressure, unlike a golf course where once you miss the first one, you know the second one doesn't mean anything, so you're going to make it. I'm reconsidering. I think I'll do it. I think 10 Dales in the clink probably do me right, and I'll come out a new man, just changed.
Absolutely, because I offered
but then
you
I can't play golf for a year.
All expense paid trips for you to go to any course in the world whenever you want.
Not seeing the break of the putt, not knowing what it would do scares me a little bit.
You made a bad decision. You were under pressure, and you failed under the pressure.
Here's the good news. I did miss it, so in a way, I'm probably right not to do it. The one I have for you is this. Same deal. 10-footer, okay? You get the 10 days in jail, and then when you come out, you cannot make another sports bet for 1 whole year. You can't bet on anything.
1 year of no sports betting.
No sports betting. You cannot. Would you take the bet?
No, I can't go. Anthony, I can't
go
a weekend.
One night, but
I can't go a weekend without a sports bet.
But what if you make the
and
putt?
I'm not as good of a putter as you are.
Taught you the claw.
Yeah.
It's treated you well.
My percentage chance of making is probably about 25%. So no sports betting, 10 days in jail. It's not worth it for me. I don't mind just playing at my local club. I'm okay with it, playing with my buddies. I don't necessarily need to go to Augusta. I'd be okay. I wouldn't take the gamble that I wouldn't be able to gamble anymore.
You may not know this. I'm going to put a little pressure on Scotty Scheffler to continue his consecutive top 10 streak. All right? You know where that is right now?
I don't. He had an opening in the 20s.
Well, he had an opening 62 at Travelers, and as bad as he putted at Oakmont, he's now finished. He finished tied for 7th there, which runs his top 10 finisher better to 8 consecutive events.
Oh, just 8.
Just 8.
Okay.
So he's finished 8 straight times in the top 10. Let me put this in perspective. Byron Nelson, who arguably has the most famous streak in the sport, he won 11 straight PGA Tour tournaments from March to August in 1945, including the PGA Championship. But that was the only major they played that year. Tiger won 7 tournaments in a row. Byron won 11. But let me get back to the top 10. Byron Nelson's other streak, 65 straight events, finishing inside the top 10, a stretch that spanned over 4 years. Now, I know the fields were smaller and they weren't as deep and the parity wasn't there. But 65 straight events in the top 10, that's showing up. Scotty's at 8.
What year was Byron Nelson? Like what's the era?
In the 40s.
I know what I'm talking about. Now, I am curious. You talked about the field being much, much smaller back then. Do you believe if you were alive in the 40s
with this equipment,
with your equipment, with your abilities, would you have been a professional golfer? Because I believe you would have. Because you hit the ball pretty well, and you
I would say
well.
If you took this, if you could have this ball, this equipment, and take you back to the 1930s.
And how long were holes in the 30s?
Holes,
they weren't playing 550-yard par 5s. Like we watched Oakmont last week where you had a 300-yard par 3. I guarantee there wasn't anything over probably 150 in the 40s, right, as far as a par 3 goes. So, yeah, it's a totally different sport.
Think about the golf ball.
I bet you would have been.
It said Byron Nelson's average driving distance on the tour was 269 yards.
No.
And that was 8th in driving in the 40s. They weren't hitting 270-yard drives in the 40s, were they?
No
The only way they do it is if the fairways were so dry and so short. You know what I mean? Like where they got so much roll. Like that's got to be 40 yards a roll.
With wood drivers, too, right? I mean, the 40s? There's no way 270 is the average off the tee.
Anyway, so I'm putting Scheffler in the pressure cooker. He's never going to get to that. The New York Mets are starting a 3-game series at Philly. The Mets rotation, which it's a beast. Now it's a semi-mash unit. Senga's having a Cy Young caliber year. Grade 1 hammy now. Tyler McGill is out with an elbow. Sean Manaea should be back. Frankie Montas will be as well, but who knows how good. The Mets are a first-place team that's lost 6 in a row. And now they're tied with the Phils. This is a massive series this weekend. I'm putting the pressure on them.
Okay, speaking of pressure cooker, we got to pay off on the tease from last segment because this was the ultimate pressure that I put on you in this prank from about a decade ago, where I had a police officer who was a friend, a big guy, really big, strong guy, came into the station.
Big fella.
And I told him, I'm like, hey, let's do a little prank on Anthony.
This was not good.
Because I had just gotten you into sports betting, and you were doing one of those overseas betting accounts that was a little fishy, right?
Yeah, say it right.
Yeah.
I had been a sports bettor amongst friends and things. This was the first time, hey, pump your credit card in to an offshore account somewhere.
I convinced you to do that, and because I wanted the bonus, right, the sign-up bonus, the referral bonus to get you in that site.
Yeah, we got in a fight over that because you said you were going to split the points with me, and then you never did.
We did.
And I
sounds like you're still angry about it.
I'm really not. I just want to put the whole story in context.
So I thought it would be funny if my friend who was a cop came into the station and full uniform, big, towering guy.
Gun,
you're getting ready for your show with Bobby back in the day. And I said, hey, just go into his office and kind of question him. Start questioning his gambling habits and what's going on. And this officer comes in and you totally thought you were going to be arrested.
Friendly.
He actually said, well, we might need to take this downtown.
He did. He said we have to go back to the station.
And he was dead serious.
Back to the house.
The pressure on your face. And I remember you saying, well, I got to go tell String Bean that I'm going downtown.
I didn't resist, and I didn't go crazy. I was nervous, and I basically said, I have to go. And they walked me all the way to the elevator.
Yep, we got to the elevators, and then finally, I barely kept a straight face, but I kept a straight face till the elevator, and then told you that was just a prank that we were putting on you. So that was the ultimate pressure cooker.
And then I had to go host a show
from a decade ago. Yes.
Amazing. All right, let me give a minute for my guys out there that are looking to get an extra boost of health and energy they need to live their best life. Low T Center, said it for years. The power's in the numbers. They offer free weight loss consultations, free T-test, special offer celebrating dads as we continue this post-Father's Day. Treatment will be personalized. Major insurance is accepted. They've got the freedom to choose in-center care or at-home treatment. Help yourself, help your dad, help people you love. Help yourself. So for another day, from now until the 21st, you can enjoy a free B12 shot when you stop in for TRT and weight loss. But more importantly, don't get caught up in that deadline. Go get your numbers from Low T Center, and you can book your appointment. It's so easy. Take the simple blood test, find out where you land on the scale, and then get the answers you deserve. The offer's limited. Book now at fixmylowt.com. That's fixmylowt.com. Scotty, we keep lining up legends. That's all we do today. Cardale Jones, former national champion quarterback, will join us next in 2 minutes, and we'll ask him, the battle at quarterback, how real is it? Rothman and Ice in the Fan.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Annie's first oil change wasn't as hard as she thought because she went to AutoZone, where a friendly AutoZoner helped her find the right oil and save on an oil filter. He explained the job and showed her free how-tos on AutoZone.com. When she was done, AutoZone recycled her old oil for free. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems. Listen carefully. If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, U.S. Tax Shield can help you take back control. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Our team of tax attorneys can stop collections and get you protected. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the BBB, so call 800-494-6139. U.S. Tax Shield, 800-494-6139.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to Hims.com/joy. HIMS.com/JOY.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover's accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Rothman Ice is sponsored by your local Pella Window and Door showroom on Gemini Parkway. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Dog friendly. And if you ain't down with that, this is Rothman and Ice.
We are at Gigi's Drive for Dogs outing at Cumberland Trail. Just lapping it up ourselves. Great food, great fun, saving dogs, trying to get dogs adopted. Get people really in that mindset. He probably didn't view himself as an underdog, but I remember covering it and going into that 2014 season. I think he was a redshirt at that point, and Cardale Jones was third on the depth chart. You had Braxton, you had JT Barrett, and it's really unbelievable, the story. It's probably one of the great stories in the history of Ohio State football. And the man, affectionately known as 12 Gauge, is with us now on the Bryant Heating Cooling Systems Fangast Hotline. Cardale, good to have you, my man. How you feeling?
Oh, great, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me. You guys always do such an unbelievable introduction of making me feel like I'm back in the Woody Hayes facility. So thanks for that.
You're always with us, man. You're always a Buckeye, always, right? And, take me back a little bit. You make the first start of your college career, I believe, in that Big Ten title game. In place of JT, he had been injured against Michigan, and here we go. It's that time. That dream season, that gauntlet that you went through, tell me what you were thinking before that, where your confidence level was, and maybe what you expected of yourself. There was so much pressure clearly on you, but maybe the fans weren't even expecting anywhere close to this. What were you expecting of yourself then?
I mean, honestly, to go into the situation and pick up where we left off at, as an offense, as a team, Coach Meyer and that staff, Tom Herman on the offensive side of the ball, did an unbelievable job of making sure that not just the starters was prepared for each and every snap and each and every moment, but the backups as well. So I never viewed myself as a backup or a third teamer, even in the beginning of the season going into camp. I viewed myself as a critical piece to this whole puzzle that we had to put together as a team, and whatever role that I had to play each and every week, if it was through scout team or finally having a chance to really prepare to be the starter. My job was to maximize that role and to add value to the team. So that was kind of our mindset going into these situations, and I guarantee you if it was any other position that went down, their backup, that mindset would have been the exact same.
Was there a conscious effort before that Big Ten title game, the Wisconsin game? I remember saying, or trying to analyze a little bit, and a lot of people were saying, hey, let's make the easy throws, get him involved in the game, just get him into rhythm. And then I looked at it maybe the other way. Do you let him just wing it deep and try to drain the nerves a little bit early and not play it too conservative, because then you're playing into a mindset of that you don't need him or don't expect him to do much? What was the game plan to kind of handle you in the early start of that Wisconsin game?
As a player, no, I didn't have that mindset or have that feel at all. Now, that's different than what the coaches may have came out and said. I know Coach Meyer over the years came out and said, the game plan was to keep the ball on the outside the hashes because, sometimes as a young, anxious quarterback when it came to experience, the hype and the nerves can be so high, and you leave a ball high across the middle, usually it's going to the safety. So I know that was their mindset in the very beginning, but I think we did a good job of really just ultimately exploiting the things that we thought we can exploit in Wisconsin defense, and the following weeks was the same thing. But as players, as a vibe from my teammates, anything like that, it was nothing like, oh, well, we can't do this because there's limited ability.
So, Cardale, you've obviously been a part of a lot of quarterback battles at Ohio State competitions. We have one for this coming fall, Julian Sayin, Lincoln Kienholz, and kind of you're very close with the program still. Kind of handicap what this quarterback competition is, kind of the strengths of both guys, and what you kind of expect for this fall.
Yeah, I think both guys bring their own kind of swag and ability to the success of the offense. I think, first and foremost, I think the team is going to be in great hands with either guy behind center because they're not going to be in a position where Ryan Day is going to ask these guys to go be Superman. Right, I mean, you got so much talent surrounding this team. I think the offensive line is taking a step or two in the right direction of being better from last year. I mean, the skill players always are going to be great. Skilled players here at Ohio State when you talk about the running back, the tight end, and the receivers. But when you look at Julian, one of the top guys coming out of his class, originally was at Alabama, and then we found a way to get him here in Columbus. Things that he's able to do in the pocket is phenomenal. I mean, you dating back to his high school days and a small glimpse of what we were able to see through spring ball and some mop-up duties last year. Then you look at Lincoln, a guy who was thrust into a situation, a few years back in a Missouri game, in a bowl game, and he kind of had a lot of growing pains. But the thing that most impressed me with Lincoln, outside of his ability to get it done inside and outside the pocket, is his resiliency. Right, look at this kid. Right, I mean, Buckeye Nation to a certain extent kind of wrote him off after the lack of performance he had versus the Missouri Tigers. When he got thrown into the fire when Devin went down, and then you look at what we did that offseason, bringing in not just one but two quarterbacks after after Cal had went into the portal. Lincoln probably was thinking he had an easy leg up of potentially making a push to be the guy or even the backup. And then they bring in two more quarterbacks with Julian and Will Howard. The way he has fought through all of that to stick there and really learn the system, continue to develop as a quarterback, and put himself in position to talk about a potential starter, I mean, that does a lot for a guy's confidence. Speaking from that similar situation of sticking around when you're getting recruited back. So both of the guys are bringing a tremendous amount of talent to the offense and to the team overall as that potential leader, but unfortunately it can only be one.
So, Cardale, one of my favorite summer events in Columbus every year is the Cardale Jones charity softball game. I can't wait for it. It's at Huntington Park. It's July 19th, 4 o'clock. You guys do a home run derby. It's sponsored by Monogram Homes. It's one of these cool summer events where you get a lot of the current Buckeyes and former Buckeyes out there. I know this year it's Team Cardale Jones versus Team Braxton Miller. Huge names out there, like Maurice Claret's going to be out there. And we talked about current guys. Lincoln Kienholz is also on your team. Talk to us a little bit about this softball game because I love it, Cardale.
It's always it became a staple here in Columbus of summer events as far as family-oriented, and then also give you that small taste of the Buckeyes before we have this longer drought before that break between camp and the season. So it's always that nice appetizer we get before the Buckeye season, especially over the last couple of years, incorporating some of the current guys. And speaking of Lincoln as a great athlete he is, he's back to defend his home run derby championship and MVP. So I was smart this year. I made sure he was on my team. But it's always a good time. Big thanks to the Buckeye Crews for Cancer and the James for allowing this thing to happen and having the fun at the James. All proceeds goes to the James. So outside of a great cause, just an overall great family-oriented event on a nice, hopefully not too hot Columbus Saturday evening.
Yeah, I mean, I remember last year, Will Howard was there, and he was actually in Lederhosen. It was one of those nights where just everybody had such a great time. There's so much, maybe the highlight of the night is the interaction between the players and the fans, because you guys do such a good job of signing autographs and interacting and doing games, and it's just one of those nights that, like, it's so underrated in Columbus. Tickets are only $10. They're available at 971thefan.com, and as you mentioned, it goes to a cause of fighting against cancer. So I love everything that you do. Reminder, it's Saturday, July 19th, 4 o'clock, Huntington Park.
Yeah, and I appreciate all the partnerships with Monogram Homes, and then clearly you guys over at the Fan, and all of the sponsorships that clearly make this thing bigger and bigger each year. The goal is one day to sell out Huntington Park and really continue to gain exposure for this event, because I look at this event as an appreciation to Buckeye Nation for all of their support over the years, and clearly throughout the current players as well. So it's growing in popularity with the current and former guys. I can't tell you guys enough how many text messages I get each year around, I want to say February, March, where players will say, hey, when is the game? Hey, don't forget, don't leave me out this year. So that's the exciting part about it, to see the growth from year 1 to year, I think this is year 7 or 8. I can't even remember.
Cardale Jones with us, former national champion quarterback, Ohio State. I'll leave you with this one. Massive game out of the gate against Texas. Give me a little bit about, the battle of quarterback this fall, because there's two different mindsets. One is, do you start the guy that, may have the higher floor in a tougher game, meaning you feel a little more safe with him, a little more or versus the guy that might need this game to develop, the guy that's got higher talent? And what I'm looking at that is, if Sayin is considered maybe the higher ceiling talent, but Keenholz makes you feel like, hey, he's a little more ready to have this game, how do you play that as a head coach and an offensive coordinator?
I think the mindset of going into this game, I'll be shocked if it's that, just speaking from the outside looking in. I think what we've seen from Ryan Day and his staff the last, 5 to 6 games of last year leading into this season, and just seeing Ryan Day in press conferences as he answered questions like this and the confidence level, and you see you almost feel like a monkey has been lifted off of his back because of the success they had last year. I don't think that's the mindset. I think the mindset is going in here with the best 11 guys on both sides of the ball is going to give me the best chance to win this game. And clearly the quarterback position is the biggest question mark right now, because you got to replace a national championship winning quarterback and a very productive one in Will Howard, and the things he was able to do on the ground and through the air. But I think that's more of the mindset. Who is going to give us the best opportunity to win, to maximize all the pieces that we have surrounding this guy?
Great stuff. Always appreciate you jumping on, my man. Have a great weekend. We'll look forward to seeing you the softball game next month. Thanks for the time, Cardale. Have a great weekend.
Thanks for having me, guys. As always, go Bucks.
Cardale Jones here on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. We'll come back with a Buckeye Bulletin. Jake Diebler, men's basketball coach, wants to take pressure off this guy. You'll find out next. Rothman and Ice in the Fan.
We used to have a billboard with our host's face on it, but only ugly people work here now.
You mama say you ugly, hey!
The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Hey, it's Anthony for my friends at Germain Honda of Dublin. Summer savings, Rich is backing it up. He has rates as low as 0% and leases starting from $249 a month. How about a 25 Honda HR-V LX CVT two-wheel drive? Lease it for only $259 a month. 36 months, 30,000 miles with only $30.39 down. And all trades deserve a sweetener. He's giving you an extra $1,000 for yours. See them for all the details. Germain Honda of Dublin, Sawmill Road, just south of 270.
Newman Roofing is proud to sponsor the Fan and 10 TV's Beat the Heat fan drive. Help Ohio's most vulnerable residents deal with the extreme heat this summer. Purchase new box fans and take them to the nearest Franklin County Fire Station or buy online. For more information, go to lifecarealliance.org.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Hey, it's Anthony for Orthopedic One. I'm not invincible anymore. I never was, but I refuse to punt on things I still love to do. That's why over the past several years, when I've had things creep up, like back pain, shoulder issue, elbow problem, I've had it all, I've always chosen Orthopedic One. That's because Orthopedic One is Ohio's largest physician-owned orthopedic practice with 60 physicians in every specialty. Find a physician or location near you at orthopedic1.com. Orthopedic One. This is where you go to get better.
Get blockbuster savings at Coughlin Ford. 5-time winner of the Ford President's Award. Get employee pricing on new F-150s. 10 grand off MSRP on new 25s or 13 grand off new 24 models. Shop the fastest growing Ford dealership in Central Ohio. From America, for America. Visit CoughlinFord.com.
Based on YTD sales and ground stock. All factory rebates to dealer. All prior sales excluded. In-stock units only. Must finance through Ford Motor Credit. Not all will qualify. No security deposit required. Residency restrictions may apply. See dealer for details. N7725.
Open a money market account at Kemba Financial Credit Union and enjoy a 4.00% APY intro rate until April 2026, 6 times the national average. Maintain easy access to your funds and secure financial stability. Don't miss out. Offer expires July 31st, 2025. Visit Kemba.org. Restrictions apply. Advantage status and $5,000 minimum and $1 million maximum deposit required. APY equals annual percentage yield. Comparison based on FDIC average. Federally insured by NCUA.
Central Ohio contractors and homeowners. 3D Cabinetry is your go-to for fast, hassle-free service from order to install. 3D Cabinetry delivers fully assembled all-wood affordable cabinets. Visit 3dcabinetry.net today for your free consultation. That's 3dcabinetry.net.
When you're listening to T-Bone and Tyvis, all the F words apply. Football, food, and fun, and fat, and furry. They both have beards. And they dress up like animals and hump things. T-Bone and Tyvis.
Weekday mornings at 6.
The Fan.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover's accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Oh my God, is this your house?
This is the humble abode.
Oh my God, it's so humble.
FX presents Adults.
You don't know your social security number?
No, I do. It's just my mom, knows the whole thing.
A new comedy about 20-somethings achieving zero anythings.
What is the worst that happens? I go broke. I can't pay my loans. I start an OnlyFans, but only you guys subscribe.
You can't do OnlyFans.
Yeah, you wouldn't make it on there, so sorry.
FX's Adults. Wednesdays on FX. All episodes streaming on Hulu.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Weston Air Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Rothman and Ice present Buckeye Bulletin.
Sponsored by Logan AC and Heat Services. Don't go through another air conditioner breakdown. For fast, friendly service, call the experts at Logan Services now for a free estimate and next day air installation.
All right, Buckeye Bulletin time. Let's get into a little men's hoops. And when you have a core coming back of Bruce Thornton and John Mobley and Devin Royal, you feel pretty secure. It's not that's a nice little thing you can work around. And, Coach Diebler is entering into his second year, full year with the program. But in the line, the definition really isn't that bad. It's make the tournament. No one's putting any true undue pressure on them to advance. Now, once you're in, we'll see what the matchup is. We'll see how the team's playing. Expectations can change. But when you miss 3 consecutive big NCAA tournaments, the pressure's going to be on. The attendance, as the man sitting to my right knows very well, is always a challenge. And without you, because you can scream for about 30 people, so
that's true.
That helps.
That's true, and I did last year many times, especially down the stretch.
And they don't play on the weekend at home.
It's unbelievable.
What's that all about?
It's silly. Sometimes you'll get a weird Friday night game, but yeah, the times that you want to play are the Sunday afternoon, the 1 o'clocks, the Saturday night games. And Ohio State Hoops has not been getting it, and it's been very, very frustrating. I mean, I was a season ticket holder, Anthony, for 20 years, and I thought I would be forever. And it just got to the point, there were so many changes, schedule changes, late night games. It was tough to make it, and obviously the decline of the team. So, for me, like it's tough to get out when the team is struggling and you have so many weird game times.
Yeah, and then like a lot of people do that have dumped season tickets, they've picked the games they want to go to and they put the money into those. When we get back to the team, and the Twin Towers didn't work, the Bradshaw-Sean Stewart didn't materialize.
No, bad.
But there is one guy that usually you can count on, and that is Bruce Thornton. And here is Coach Diebler on trying to relieve the pressure off of him.
As the season went on last year, we tried to move Bruce around and in the half court, certainly because he was so efficient as a scorer, right? But it was a heavy load that we asked him to carry last year, and being able to have guys create for him sometimes makes it easier for him, and also made us harder to guard. So we feel like we have way more playmaking in general, which will be really helpful for us. There's going to be a lot more space on the court, which is something we tried to do going into last season, but as the season wore on, we weren't able to do it the level we're going to. We're going to be able to play with more pace this year. We played faster than Ohio State's played in a long time. However, it wasn't at the level we'd like to get to. I think the collective basketball IQ will help with that. The space will help with that. So, listen, it's hard as a coach, right? Because you want Bruce out there every minute, all the time, and involved in everything. But there's a reality to it. And so I feel like this roster is more equipped to, have some more versatility, variability offensively, which will be important for us. And then guys being able to create for him being able to create for others, that should happen a little bit more.
So two things there. One, and I should say this, John Mobley Jr., if he can continue to run the point, then all of a sudden you play Bruce off the ball and you can take a little pressure off of him. That's a thing we haven't really guaranteed yet, that can happen that way. But if that happens, then all of a sudden you do have a dynamic that's pretty good. Now, the depth behind those two, that's probably the biggest mystery.
So I'd argue the end of last season, my biggest problem with Diebler's coaching was his management of the minutes. Okay? And so I think Ohio State lost 5 of their last 7 games. They were on the bubble. It looked like this was going to be a tournament team in mid-February. Okay? Mm-hmm. They had just won at Washington. They dominated Washington. And it was like, okay, as long as you can be okay down the stretch, Ohio State basketball will be a tournament team. But then what happened was they lost 5 of their last 7 games of the year, and here's why. They ran out of gas, Anthony. The players, like Bruce Thornton, last 7 games, I'm going to read off his minutes. 40 minutes, 34 minutes, 40 minutes, 36 minutes, 48 minutes, 35 minutes, 38 minutes. Those are your last 7 games. He is playing way too much. Like, look at the NBA. Yeah. Look at the best players in the NBA. You need some time on the bench. You need to have depth.
True.
And I know Michi. I know the Michi story.
You just read my mind.
I completely get it. And I completely get when they were putting that roster together, they didn't expect Chapman to be out for the entire year. And the depth in the backcourt was a huge issue. But the fact that Bruce Thornton had to play nearly 40 minutes a game that entire last month of the season, he completely ran out of gas, and that team ran out of gas, Anthony.
He's got some experience this year in the starting lineup, and he's now brought in dudes with experience. It's interesting. Now, this year it's a little different as far as guys that he brought in, but, man, it's going to be interesting as far as the minutes go and the production. But I think that dynamic with Mobley and Thornton is going to be big.
And I like Diebler a lot. I just think that he completely mismanaged the minutes, and he was handcuffed with the
You just heard him. He said, I got to have Bruce out there in all situations.
I know, but absolutely, that was the key to Ohio State not making the tournament last year was the lack of depth, and I know that and retaining the guys were the most important thing for the roster construction for this coming year. Bringing in Gabe Cupps from Indiana, that brings in a little bit of depth. Hoping that Chapman is healthy. The problem that I have a little bit, Anthony, is you're relying on a lot of guys for depth that had injuries last year, and you're hoping that guys bounce back from injuries. Chapman was hurt all last year. Cupps was hurt almost all of last year. And the kid that they're bringing in, a big from Baylor, was hurt, and injured for a big majority of last year, and is still questionable of how much he will be available this coming year. So that's the biggest thing is, gosh, like I like the roster as a whole.
Yes.
I like the transfer of the center, Tilley, from Santa Clara. I think he's going to be good.
Christoph Tilley?
Yeah, I'm excited about the roster. But the thing I'm most worried about is you got a lot of question marks as far as guys who were injured last year.
Transfers better work out. That's a big roll of the dice. They didn't last year. Maybe they will this year. That is today's Buckeye Bulletin. All right, we come back. Top of the hour reset for a third hour. And the underdog that's turned into potentially one that would steal the series. We'll hit it next. Rothman Ice on the Fan.
Bobby Carpenter demands that you watch Morning Juice on YouTube. If you don't, Tito will move into your house.
Live at 6 a.m. on YouTube and streaming on the Fan app.
Men, the summer is here. Longer days, warmer nights, and romance in the air. Intimate dinners, walks on the beach, dancing in the moonlight. But if you have erectile dysfunction, you know it can ruin romance, both for you and the one you love. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health. And if you have ED, don't let another summer go by without getting treated. Because intimacy is one of the greatest things in life, and fear of not being able to perform should not be something you have to deal with. At Tri-State Men's Health, we're ED experts. We've successfully treated tens of thousands of men. Our protocols work when others don't, and we have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. You could even last up to an hour or more and perform like you haven't in years. And for a limited time, we're offering new patients a free first visit to help you get back to feeling like the man you're meant to be. This includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. We have 2 convenient Columbus area locations in Hilliard and Westerville.
Hi, I'm Bob Capace from Worthington Jewelers.
And I'm his very overpaid celebrity endorser, Common Man. Bob, I heard somewhere, actually from you many, many times, that Worthington Jewelers is where Columbus gets engaged.
It's too bad you and Timmy can't engage the audience.
Good zing, Bob.
If you're thinking of popping the question, there's only one place to go.
Worthington Jewelers on High Street in Worthington. WorthingtonJewelers.com. Tell them Common Man sent you.
So we bought an actual shopping mall and put one of the largest Honda dealerships in the world inside of it. Hi, it's Steve Lindsay with Lindsay Honda. So it's big. We house about 150 to 200 cars indoors, lit, all unlocked, ready for you to be able to view and see. A fully tempered climate. Doesn't matter if it's raining outside, 10 below zero, super hot. There's real trees inside, and it's just a casual environment. And if you haven't seen it, it's really a cool story, not about its opulence. It's just a cool story to see what was a dilapidated old mall being reinvigorated into a pillar in the community that everybody benefits from.
This month at Lindsay Honda, choose a 2025 Honda Ridgeline RTL, Honda HR-V or CR-V, and pay just $299 a month at our famous Lindsay Honda Trade-A-Thon. We'll trade for anything and give you $1,000 more for your vehicle all month long. Visit lindsayhonda.com for details.
Master Grillers Unite. The grilling season never ends at Billiards Plus. Come see their best-in-class grills for yourself and check out Central Ohio's largest selection of pool tables, game furniture, and shuffleboard. Family-owned and operated. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Hey, it's Anthony Rothman. From sold-out stadiums under Friday night lights to more than 100,000 screaming fans on the banks of the Olentangy. America's football capital is right here in Ohio. But the greatest football players and coaches of all time live up the road in Canton at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And a trip there should be on every football fan's list. Go to 971thefan.com/goldjacket and enter to win a VIP experience to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Ignite the passion. Relive the glory.
Working your way through that honey-do list? That means more flushes, more showers, more fiddling with the thermostat. Trust the pros at the Waterworks with your plumbing and drain cleanings and repairs and all your heating and cooling needs. Our certified pros can repair or replace your furnace or air conditioner. Clogs? Call the Waterworks. Drain cleaning? Call the Waterworks. Plumbing issues? Call the Waterworks. Furnace repairs? Call the Waterworks. The Waterworks. Trusted neighborhood plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling experts.
Care Heating and Cooling. When you need a company you can trust, call 1-800-COOLING.
Switching to Progressive is a game-winning call. And that reminds us of other game-winning calls in the history of sports.
So it was the fourth quarter and we're down by 5. Sweat pouring down my face. Suddenly it hit me. If only I could wrap part of the towel around my forehead. And that's how I became the first basketball player to wear a headband.
Okay, not really a game-winning call, but it was a good call. You can make one too. Switch to Progressive and you could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states.
Every great team has its core players, but when the season gets tough, adding the right free agent can make all the difference. The same goes for business. At Robert Half, we found that 67% of companies surveyed plan to increase their use of contract talent to handle workload peaks and backlogged projects. With Robert Half's specialized recruiters' experience, combined with our award-winning AI, you can quickly find the skilled candidates you want. At Robert Half, we know talent. Discover how we can help at roberthalf.com/talent.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good afternoon. I'm Ryan Baker. The Reds and Guardians both starting new series on the road this evening. Cincinnati is in St. Louis to face the Cardinals at 7:15. Brady Singer versus Andre Palante, the pitching matchup. Coverage over on ESPN Columbus begins at 6:45. Cleveland stays out on the West Coast for a series with the A's at 10:05. Tanner Bybee gets the start for the Guards. Jeffrey Springs for the Athletics. The Houston Texans have signed former Buckeye cornerback and first-round pick Damon Arnett. Former Chicago Blackhawk captain and 3-time Stanley Cup winner Jonathan Taves will return to the NHL and sign with the Winnipeg Jets. He's missed the past 2 seasons with symptoms of long COVID. The Pittsburgh Penguins have hired Todd Nelson as their head coach. This one's sponsored by RCD RV Supercenter in Heath, Delaware, Pataskala, and always online at rcdrv.com.
Most shows just skim the surface, but Rothman and Ice feel like the biggest story of the day deserves a closer look. It's time for a deeper dive.
Sponsored by Low T Center. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
All right, what a day. Final hour of the show. Rothman and Ice. Scotty Vegas in for the Iceman today. And once again, kind of an annual tradition for me to bring the show to Cumberland Trail Golf Course here in Pataskala and support my friends at Gigi's, the amazing shelter in Canal, where I like to say, and they like to say, it's love, care, and second chances. And they have made the most of it for so many dogs. They bring homeless dogs from rural communities with high poverty rates to their 6-acre, 3-building campus, which is just absolutely beautiful, to get healthy and get ready to be adopted. And they've done it for 17,000 plus dogs. And it's terrific. 20 plus years ago, I wanted to be on the front lines. I did. Became a humane agent in Franklin County, and it's tough to see the neglect, to see that, because I never, growing up, how could you be wired that way, to neglect an animal? And so I wanted to be out there, and I wanted to be investigating neglect and cruelty and all of that, and abandonments. And I've turned over the years, I've evolved into now trying to help and showcase shelter dogs in Central Ohio and beyond. And one of the best is Gigi's. My friend Tina Skestos is an absolute saint, and her husband George have done a tremendous impact to this community. But the people within the team, and the man to my right is one of them, my friend Justin McInnes, who is here again today. Good to see you, my man, the executive director.
Hey, thanks for coming out.
So that's my intro. Now you tell me, where are we with dog adoptions, and what's been the biggest challenge?
Yeah, for sure. So, we had a great conversation with Coach Tressel earlier, and one of the things we talked about is just what leadership means, and particularly in the space around animal welfare and what dogs need. And like you said, George and Tina kind of came to the table and said, they take leadership seriously, and they've invested in leadership. And so, for us as a team, really, it's about investing in top people who can, take science forward, take the cause forward, and make lives better for dogs. So, every dog that ends up in a shelter, it's a function of circumstance, and it's not their own, right? So what matters, what we do from that point is how we move them forward. And so it's not really just about housing dogs, it's about fixing problems. It's about, fast and effective medical care, solid behavior work, judgment-free adoption, all those things that help a dog get out of the sheltering system or rescue system faster is better for them, because every day that they spend in a shelter actually adds risk to their lives.
No doubt. And people, I hear that all the time. Well, I don't think I can get a puppy there, or the dog had a bad life, so he's not going to behave well. And that's where you guys have really stepped in to make these dogs who have, through no fault of their own, been dealt a horrible life and have gone through the shelter system, which adds stress and adds behavior and health issues, and you've helped alleviate that. But tackle that first part about people that think that there's something that they don't want to deal with a shelter.
Yeah, and I think some of the concerns people have, some of them people have had real experiences. Some are things they learn from other people. But the reality is there are good dogs in shelters, and in the sheltering system, it needs more support. It needs more leaders coming into it. It needs leaders from the public who are just willing to donate their time and resources. It needs generous donors, right, to drive the system forward. And so, for us, like great teams, we study the. We study the other teams. We study the playbook. We're putting transport research together, veterinary research together, all the things that, bring evidence to the table that can provide a better life for dogs. And the faster we move as a system, the more those complaints or the more those challenges that some have experienced with a dog from a shelter, those things start to go away a little bit, right? So it's really about moving the system quickly so that we can do the best for dogs.
The easiest thing to ask for is money. It's sometimes the hardest thing to get because you're competing with other charities and passions that people have, but it is your number one priority to try to keep the system moving is the financial hurdles.
Absolutely. So, we're a very, very lucky nonprofit to have the backing of some founders who saw the biggest hurdles, right? They invested in the organization first, so that all of the money that we bring in actually goes directly to the dogs. So there's no overhead that's being paid for through other donors. Every dollar that comes into Gigi's goes directly into vaccinations, veterinary care, behavior. It's not just for the dogs that come through the shelter at Gigi's. We're serving other rescues throughout the Central Ohio area.
Justin, it's incredible. You're not just trying to adopt animals. You're improving the lives of shelter dogs. And I think that's wonderful. Continued great work. We'll keep supporting. If people want to visit the site, it's gg's.org and really see the work you guys are doing. Thanks, man.
Awesome. Hey, thanks for coming out.
And you both, what you both have done in the dog world is just absolutely amazing, and I love it. As a dog owner myself, I've got Mac. I rescued Mac. Our good friends have 2 rescue dogs that came to visit our house last night, and all 3 dogs were in the backyard playing together, and it's a special thing. So thank you to actually both of you and what you guys have done and the money that you've raised, and this outing is just going to help that. So
and likewise,
very cool.
Thank you. Thanks for making that happen for dogs in your house.
Absolutely.
Thanks. Justin, well done, man. We'll get you back onto the course and stay hydrated today and have a lot of fun.
Appreciate it,
Thanks
guys.
for being here. Justin McInnes with Gigi's golf outing and the shelter here. We thought it would be apropos to talk about underdogs. The Indiana Pacers, who won last night, and by the way, Opie Toppin was amazing, and and Halliburton played as we thought he would and played pretty well, and McConnell played and he played well. I was a little surprised it was that easy. I thought OKC would not roll the dice with, let's go back Game 7, put all our energy into that. But I think once they saw that Indiana meant business, they decided, all right, it's not our night, and they're going back. You're obviously big into the future betting. Where were you on Indiana? They were such a hard team to identify. A lot of people knew they were underseeded based on their injuries earlier, that they were, if they got healthy, they would be easily a number 1 kind of feel.
So, Anthony, in an era right now we are at in sports championships, whether it's college or pro, we are seeing favorites come through at an unbelievable rate, right? I mean, just across the board, team sports, we're seeing the favorites win the championships, right? Like the Dodgers coming through. And you see obviously the Eagles and the Chiefs were in the Super Bowl, two favorites going into that. Just across the board, favorites are winning. However, the fact that we have the Indiana Pacers in a Game 7 win a championship is incredible based on the odds, because we were looking at some of their odds throughout the year. At the start of the season, the Pacers were 66-1 to win the NBA championship. Just at the start of the playoffs, Anthony, 80-1 to win the championship. And March 1st, with all the injuries that were going on with the Pacers, they were 150-1 to win a championship. So we're kind of in an era where this just isn't happening in major professional sports, where we're seeing these huge, crazy underdog Cinderella stories. But the Pacers are one. You're in Game 7. Now their chances of winning Game 7 are plus 235. I think most people feel like the Thunder will still find a way, get it done, and the favorite wins it. But those numbers, those odds on Indiana are crazy to think about, considering the teams that are winning championships now.
Yeah, listen, anyone would give them a puncher's chance. If Halliburton is now pretty much as healthy as he's going to be, and he looked pretty good, he and Siakam together are obviously very dangerous. And the defense that was not very good, and you talked about the injuries, all of a sudden now they've experimented with zone. They've played more zone possessions in the preseason. They just become a little bit different team. The depth is pretty reliable. However, I'll call this guy, like Benedict Mathurin was back from injury. And last night I had a parlay, and everything hit except the last leg. Mathurin, all I wanted him to have was 5 points. 5 points. He was 1 for 6 from the field, 0 for 5 from 3.
Oh,
he had 2 points. That's fun. But I'm with you on the favorite, because the pressure is going to be on SGA, like tremendously. OKC is one of those teams that you could make the case, outside of Boston before the season, they were the pick.
Yeah.
They were the pick, especially with the way the West was. The expectations, if the Celtics didn't exist, then it would have been a lock for OKC. People would have said, I'm going all in on them. I think the Celtics were the team that people were worried about.
Okay,
and
so let's talk about the major sports, because I want to go back to that angle. Because if we go back the last couple years in the champions, all right, who wins the college football national championship? Ohio State. Ohio State was near either the favorite coming into the year or maybe second behind Georgia to win it all. You had the Eagles that were probably about 10-1 to win the Super Bowl, but they beat the team that was favored to win at the start of the year, which was the Chiefs. You go back, the Dodgers winning the World Series. You go college basketball, favorite coming through in March Madness. It's just crazy to me how we are in a time where it's just so rare that you don't have one of the top 2 or 3 teams expected to win it. Like, isn't that kind of crazy? Aren't we used to, like, Florida in hockey, all right? They win back-to-back. No surprise there.
Not a crazy surprise. In sports like baseball and basketball and hockey, where it's not a single elimination, it's not a one-off, you do believe that over a 7-game series that maybe the best team will win. And no one knows about health and all that. We're going on the hypothetical that all teams are healthy going in. But you're right. It's a pretty shocking deal where you can't find an underdog.
No.
They can make a little noise. And Indiana, like I said, they're not really a true underdog. They're not. They were underseeded based on what happened to them throughout the season.
You know what's funny, too? And obviously Florida wins March Madness, right? And they were one of the teams that almost everybody was picking in their brackets.
But this year, and it's funny, because this year, and I pointed this out on my show, about the one seed, about how I knew there would not be a champion outside of the 1 and 2 seeds. Like, it just felt like that kind of a year. It was so top-heavy in college sports.
We got all 4 1 seeds in the Final Four, right?
I believe so.
So, I mean, it's just been the chalkiest of years across the board. And you think about it, even in golf, right? So, Scottie Scheffler wins the PGA Championship, huge favorite in that. Rory McIlroy wins the Masters. He was second behind Scottie in the odds going into that.
He finally got the
one
dog,
shock
the U.S. Open.
Is we finally maybe have broken the seal with Spawn winning the U.S. Open.
125 to 1 or whatever he was, somewhere close to that. And the guy that would have been in the playoff with him would have been McIntyre, who was about 90 to 1.
Yeah.
But, golf is the one thing, and I've talked about this, where money can be made because it feels like on any given week. I know it's 4 rounds, so you think it's actually kind of like a series where an underdog can play well for a day and he may fizzle later. But like this is a small field this week with the Travelers, right? It's a little smaller field. It's got some top heaviness, and I want to put in some money on some Cinderellas, right? Like a Harry Hall. Like you find some guys that you feel like, and then you see what happens. Scheffler goes out and fires a 62, and you're like. And then I said to a buddy of mine yesterday, I go, "Is there any way he doesn't win this week?" First of all, the course is incredibly easy. And then
he was
him,
8 under, right?
Now, there were other guys that shot that well, too. There were guys that were there.
Rory's 2 back.
But
right?
I feel like over 3 more days, you and I are starting to get the feeling like we'll be surprised if he doesn't win.
Well, and he was minus 140 going into day 2.
Who's betting that except you, and then maybe parlaying it with a lot of other things to try to get some value?
And by the way, he has a 2-shot lead in the tournament.
Where are the underdogs?
They're not coming through. They are not, other than Spawn at the U.S. Open, they're just across the board in sports over the last couple of years. Because even before that, think about UConn men's basketball won a couple back-to-back championships. The Chiefs were winning back-to-back Super Bowls. Like, it's just like nonstop where you're seeing these favorites come through. That's why this NBA Game 7 is very interesting, because it'll either be, ho-hum, we're going to have another huge favorite, win another championship, or we are going to see one of those epic Cinderella stories in the NBA that you just don't see anymore.
Well, like I can't get behind the Cinderella story. Like I said, I think
66 to 1 to start the year is Cinderella to me.
All right.
80 to 1 to start the playoffs.
The odds say you're right. The odds say you're a Cinderella. I think they were probably very much undervalued. And they are going up against a team, you're right, that won 68 games, that was 35-6 at home this year, and now they have a Game 7 at home. So I think if they win, I don't think it will be viewed as a Cinderella. I think it'll be viewed as a mild to medium upset. I don't think it'll be massive.
I disagree with you. I mean, just based on the numbers.
No, the odds say yes.
March 1st, they were 150 to 1 to win it. I mean, did you really think Indiana had a shot at the beginning of the playoffs to actually win the championship?
You had to bet on when they got healthy, they were going to be a different team.
Real quick, compare it to an NFL team in the playoffs. Like the Indiana Pacers winning the NBA championship is like who winning the NFL
last year
to winning the Super Bowl this last year. Maybe like the Rams, who were like a 6 or 7 seed.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would have been shocking.
We'll come back. Overs and unders next. Rothman and Ice on the Fan.
Big voice guy here to remind you that you're listening to the Fan, Ohio sports destination. Okay, thanks. I have 3 more seconds. Bye-bye.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with 0 experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Don't miss the Right Rug Flooring Outlet Super Sale. Save up to 80% on truckloads of floors and more, including tiles starting at 19 cents a square foot and a massive selection of laminate, luxury vinyl, and carpet, all drastically reduced. Cabinets and lighting fixtures, too. Save up to 80% during the Right Rug Flooring Outlet Super Sale on Poth Road in Whitehall. 24-month financing is available with approved credit. Hurry, the Outlet Super Sale ends June 22nd. Dealers welcome.
Hey, it's Anthony for my friends at Germain Honda of Dublin. Summer savings, Rich is backing it up. He has rates as low as 0% and leases starting from $249 a month. How about a 25 Honda HR-V LX CVT two-wheel drive? Lease it for only $259 a month. 36 months, 30,000 miles with only $30.39 down. And all trades deserve a sweetener. He's giving you an extra $1,000 for yours. See them for all the details. Germain Honda of Dublin, Sawmill Road, just south of 270.
Get Eco.
ECO. Hey, Jerry, I think I invented something. Does it solve a problem? It solves a big problem.
Get Eco.
ECO. Heating and cooling companies are telling people your furnace and AC isn't worth fixing. You need to replace it with a whole new system.
You invented a solution for that?
I invented a way to fix those systems for free.
Get Eco.
ECO.
That's a great invention. How does it work?
Step 1 is to pay Eco to fix it.
I thought you said you'd fix it for free.
Step 2 is that we give you back all the money that you paid us, up to $1,500 when you get Eco to replace it.
Get Eco.
ECO.
What if your repair keeps my system running for several more years?
That would mean you got all those extra years for free.
Paying Eco to fix your AC system is like putting money in the bank.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Eco plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians.
GetEco.com.
Bob Yoakum, president of Rockford Homes, explains why he banks with First Bank of Central Ohio.
Anytime you're dealing with a local bank, it's about being able to pick up the phone and talk to real people. That is a huge pro. You know, when you get into these bigger banks, that doesn't happen.
Experience what it's like to be first at First Bank of Central Ohio. Visit fbcentralohio.com for more details. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Bishop and Friends.
She was in the throes of it, or either just finished or about to commence the throes of it. Yeah, I did see it. Probably just leave it at that. I did see it.
Bishop and Friends, sponsored by Diamond Seller.
Weekdays from 9 to noon on The Fan.
Summer is in full swing. If you think you're hot, well, so are your trees. You can help your trees by watering them, especially if they're newly planted. During the hot, dry summer months, your trees could use a water boost. Watering new trees a few times a week will help them survive while they're developing their root system, so don't forget about them. To find out more about watering trees, or to find a certified arborist near you, go to treesforohio.org. That's trees, the number 4, ohio.org.
Are you in need of basic dental treatment but can't afford the cost? There may be a solution. Hi, I'm Dr. Hal Jeter, president of the Ohio Dental Association, and I'm excited to tell you about a program called Dental Options. Dental Options is a partnership between the Ohio Dental Association and the Ohio Department of Health, in which qualifying patients can be paired with a dentist to receive discounted or even free dental care. Eligibility for the program is based on your financial situation. For more information or to apply, call 1-888-765-6789.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We're looking at sunshine, some clouds this afternoon with a high near 85. And then heading into the weekend, we're talking about the heat. More sunshine near 90 here on Saturday, but mid-90s and heat index values near or over 100 here starting on Sunday and continuing into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday here next week. I'm meteorologist Aaron White with your 10 weather impact forecast here on 97.1 The Fan.
Bet365, the official online sports book of Rothman Ice. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Rothman Ice present Pre-Snap Leads.
Sponsored by Newman Roofing. Call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF. That's 614-NEW-ROOF. Or visit online at newmanroofing.com.
All right, a little Bet365 time, because whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365, the official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Guardians, and, of course, the sponsor of the Rothman and Ice podcast. I'm with my friend Scotty Vegas, and he has cooked up something during the break, and we'll find out if we all want to invest.
You're going to want to invest in this one because I'm really excited about it. And it might be a little bit off topic but I'm going tennis and golf with this parlay today.
Is this a Wimbledon future?
It is. It has Wimbledon, men's, women's, and it also has the British Open. So I'm going to go with Sabalenka to win the women's Wimbledon.
Bounce back?
A little bounce back. Okay. Had a little controversy in what she said after losing in the French to Coco Gauff. So give me Sabalenka.
Are you going to add a Sinner to this?
That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm going Yannick Sinner.
Oh my God.
To win the men's Wimbledon championship. And let's stay overseas. Let's go with the Open Championship and Scotty Scheffler in a bounce back after not winning
Portrush.
Yes, and after not winning the U.S. Open, still up there, right? Still a top 5 finish or top 10 finish at the U.S. Open. I have him winning. And by the way, I just plugged it into your little machine here.
Yeah.
$1,000 pays $53,400 on that futures bet.
$1,000 principal bet.
Yes, let's go.
500 a man. We go
1,000 a man. We go for the 100,000.
Oh, we go for. Oh, yeah. Why not? Yeah.
Why not?
Dream big
for the dogs.
All right, new customers now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5, win or lose. You don't have to make that bet. And you got a gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 or older. Must be physically located in Ohio. Terms and conditions apply.
Do you like the bet though?
May the odds be ever in your favor.
It's all right.
Oh!
I do it all the time. It's not a problem.
Sinner, Sabalenka, Scotty.
Sinner, Sabalenka.
It's the SSS parlay.
Sabalenka is a little questionable. Sinner, I love. Scotty at Royal Portrush. I mean, that could be, but you'd have him. I probably wouldn't do a G on it, but I'd be intrigued. I could see myself doing it. You're a player. I'm not in your league.
I love it. I honestly, and I like that you can parlay it because a lot of sites don't let you parlay
with those futures.
But Bet365 is allowing you to parlay those three at more than 50 to 1. And by
Uncle
the way,
Sam on line 2 for you.
I feel like the competitors in it would really be Alcaraz. I think he's the only other guy. I don't think Djokovic is winning the men's. And I think the competitor would probably be Coco Gauff. At Wimbledon for Sabalenka, and then for Scotty, I think if you get to the point where you got both the Wimbledon champions through, and you're with that amount of money with Scotty Scheffler at the Open Championship, I think you'd feel pretty good.
Well, yes, if you have Scotty as the anchor leg,
he's the anchor.
Yeah, I thought you were going to put Scotty in for just this week.
No value.
You're not going to mess
it's
with
over.
that. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. I like an interesting bet. That one's there. Alcaraz would scare me a little bit over Sinner, but you're right. You start going, it really drops off after that. You're not worried.
There's two guys in the men's that you're worried about.
The other way you could play this, if you got Sabalenka through, well, you could make two bets. And if you wanted to split that grand, and you could maybe grab Alcaraz in the other parlay. Have it one going with Sinner, one going with Alcaraz.
And they're basically the same odds.
Yeah.
So.
And then we'd feel good about having Wimbledon covered on the men's side.
Yeah, I'm with that.
Okay.
Sabalenka, and then a bet with Alcaraz, a bet with Sinner, and then Scotty as the anchor. That's a heck of a summer parlay.
I'm going to let TLC give you one over-under over the air about Scheffler, because I think I'm going to like this one. Go ahead, TLC.
Rothman and Ice presents Overs and Unders.
Sponsored by the Roofing Guys. For all your roofing, siding, and gutter needs, contact the Roofing Guys at theroofingguys.com.
So it's going to be called
real
Over
fast.
and Under.
Yes. Well, real fast. Years ago, when I was hosting with my man Bobby Carpenter, I think it was, I can't remember what year, Rory had won his fourth major overall. What was it, 2015 maybe? Somewhere like that. And I said to him, what's the over-under on Rory's majors now? And I put it at 9.5 when he had won 4 to that point. This was 10 years ago. And he thought that was way low. And I said, he thought 9.5. Well, he was winning everything, Scotty.
Okay.
He was dominating. And I said, well, history tells me he's not getting to 10. He's not. Guys like Watson and Ben Hogan and those guys didn't do it. There are only three guys in the history of golf, Walter Hagen, Tiger Woods, and Jack Nicklaus, that have double-digit majors. All right, TLC, now ask your question.
All right, well, I'm going to need Rothman's aid on this one as we come up with what a fair number would be. What is the over-under on Scotty Scheffler career majors, given the context of what was just shared? What are you thinking, Rothman? 6.5, 7.5? What's a fair number? Because he's at 3 right now.
He's at 3 now, and he's almost 30 years old. Obviously, that doesn't really have a big factor in it. I would put it at 7.5. So I would put it at he's either going to beat Arnie or he's not. That would be the one for me. 7.5. Now, you might say he'll shatter this, but he hasn't won a U.S. Open. Now, the fields are different. He doesn't have prime Tiger to deal with. The live guys are back, but
Well, they're back playing majors.
They're back. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So I put it at 7.5.
Yeah, so the number that I initially wrote down was 7, that he would win 7. And, boy, 7.5. So that kind of gives you over the next, he's probably got about 10 years of prime left.
Prime, but remember, all these guys winning the Masters in their 40s.
Yeah.
Mark O'Meara, Phil Mickelson, these guys win.
Yeah, I'm going to say under 7.5.
Wow. I did not expect that. I thought you'd say over.
Yeah, I know.
Because he's always in the mix.
And
he never has a horrible tournament.
I love him. Great name, all that good stuff. But I do like Scheffler a lot. But 7.5. And you brought up the good point with Rory, where initially you're like, oh my gosh, he's going to easily get to 9 majors. And he's not even going to get close to that. So
Watson had 8.
Yeah, I'm going to stay under because my number was 7.
It's funny. I think odds-wise in Vegas, if we could bet this, I think we might be on the wrong side of it. I think the favorite would be over. You can find that out.
Yeah, we should look that up.
But history says we're on the right side, being on the under. All right, we're going to come back with my man Jensen Lewis in 2 minutes. And it's baseball players versus fans. Again, I can't wait to get his opinion on this. Rothman and Ice on the Fan.
Many drugs, like cocaine, methamphetamine, and non-prescription pills, are often cut with dangerous opioids like fentanyl. As a result, nearly 14 Ohioans die daily from unintentional overdoses. That's why it's important to carry naloxone, such as Narcan, a life-saving medication that blocks the effects of fentanyl and other opioids. Over the last 5 years, naloxone has saved over 83,000 lives. Help save lives and visit naloxone.ohio.gov to learn more and find free naloxone. Remember, if you see an overdose occurring, always call 911.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Right now, get 50% off your windows. That's half off, plus no interest, no payments for 12 months, and a free entry door with your window purchase. Restrictions apply. Call 614-502-5220. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
Master Grillers Unite. The grilling season never ends at Billiards Plus. Come see their best-in-class grills for yourself and check out Central Ohio's largest selection of pool tables, game furniture, and shuffleboard. Family-owned and operated. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Matty Ice here. When I needed a new Chevy, I headed to McDaniel GM Superstore in Marion. Right now, get up to $12,000 off MSRP on a 25 Silverado LD. They've got no market adjustments, no hidden costs, and sales managers are on the floor ready to help. That's been the McDaniel difference since 1916. They're just a short drive north off Route 23 in Marion, or you can visit McDanielGMSuperstore.com. McDaniel GM Superstore, where great deals meet a century of trust. Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
Care Heating and Cooling. Honest technicians, honest pricing. Call 1-800-COOLING.
Rothman and Ice is sponsored by your local Pella Window and Door showroom on Gemini Parkway. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Crowd the plate at your own risk. It's time for some chin music with former big leaguer and president of the Bald is Beautiful fan club, Jensen Lewis.
Sponsored by Logan AC and Heat Services. Don't go through another air conditioner breakdown. For fast, friendly service, call the experts at Logan Services now for a free estimate and next day air installation.
All right, he's the man, Beeson Live, Jensen Lewis, MLB Network Radio as well. And, of course, here on Rothman and Ice, tossing some chin music. J. Lou, good to have you as always.
Likewise, boys. It's always good to be back.
All right. Take you back. Whether you've witnessed this, experienced it, wanted to do it, I'm giving you 3 different options. I watched Santana try to smack the you-know-what out of a heckler in the bullpen. Now, the weird part is that this is a Pirates reliever, just so everybody knows. And the weird part is that he had the security guard there, and he was pointing out the heckler. So he had already delegated to the security guard. That kid must have said, or that guy must have said something else. He jumps up and tries to smack him. What did you think when you saw this?
The first thing that came to mind was Miles Straw at Yankee Stadium when he was defending Stephen Kwan. years ago. As we know, the bleacher bums out there, some choice words that we found out after the fact. And Miles basically climbed the fence, getting in a guy's face. And so it really united the team and brought everyone together. If you remember, it was Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge that were running out to the outfield with the rest of their teammates and just imploring Yankee fans to stop throwing stuff on the field and things of that nature. But that was the first thing that came to mind. And you're right, it must have been something pretty serious across the line for Santana to react the way that he did. But I'll take Santana under 1.5 rounds with that fan, and I think that's a pretty heavy favorite there.
Let me ask you this, and this is probably to his favor. If he would have connected with the slap, then he's got big problems, right?
Yeah.
Then he's like, the fact that he whiffed may be the best part of this, because I'm wondering how we would would we think about it differently if he connected?
I think there once the investigation kind of initially, yes, we would have thought about it differently. That okay, he went after someone run our test style, but you would also have to allow the investigation to be fulfilled from a standpoint of course, there would be inquiries with those fans, interviews, like, okay, what was said? That security guard would get interviewed, like, why did you not intervene? Why did you not remove the player from that vicinity? So a lot would have transpired there, but you're right. In the moment, that would have been bad for Santana.
All right, the other thing I want to ask you about is, did you see Yamamoto the other night, last night?
Yes.
He's got an immaculate inning going. Tell the folks who don't know what an immaculate inning is.
All right, so immaculate inning is 9 pitches, 9 strikes. You strike out the side, and the pitch in question here, by all intents and purposes, that's a big league strike.
J-Lou. I mean, if I didn't know anything better, I would think that ump was in on something or didn't want it to happen. How do you not ring that guy up on a fastball stomach high on an immaculate inning? Now, this has happened before. It's not like it's never happened. Guys have had immaculate innings. In fact, more than you probably would think have had them. But I thought he was just straight robbed on that. I can't even imagine what he was looking at.
Yeah, no question. No other way to say it than that was absolutely the wrong call in the moment. And if and when the automatic ball strike ends up being implemented, whether that's next year or beyond, you'd have certainly seen Yamamoto go to the top of the cap for that to be reviewed, and ultimately that would have been overturned.
Jensen, you do a fabulous job in the morning. I love listening to your gambling takes and all that good stuff. And now I've got a gambling question for you for Major League Baseball in the futures, because Anthony and I were just kind of debating back and forth on Indiana being a Cinderella story in the NBA. We went over their odds, their preseason odds, and all that good stuff. I want to take this back to the baseball perspective, where we have kind of seen favorites come through in all of the major sports lately. And so if I gave you, let's say, $1,000, $1,000 to bet, and it would be, you have two options. You could go Yankees and Dodgers to win the World Series, or the field to win it. Which way are you going?
Yeah, I'm going the field. And a lot of that predicated off of the uncertainty behind the Dodgers pitching rotation and who will be healthy by the end of the year and even into what we believe should still be a sustained run in October. The American League, and I said this to AR at the beginning of the year, I felt this is the most parity we've seen in the junior circuit in probably the last 5 to 10 years. There is real opportunities for upwards of 7, maybe even 8 teams, and that's even with the Tigers getting out to the start that they did. There's still questions at the bottom of their lineup. All of a sudden, no Bregman, no Tucker, and here are the Houston Astros also doing it without Yordan Alvarez, too, and some injuries of their own. The Tampa Bay Rays are 6.5 games back at the top spot in the American League. The Blue Jays have caught some fire here. The Red Sox, even trading Devers, are 2 games over 500. The teams that are fugazi to me are mostly the Central teams. The Guardians won't be there at the end. The Twins have their own issues. I think the Royals, if any team has the opportunity to kind of bounce back, it would be them. And then after that, you look at a team like Texas and Baltimore, where the expectations certainly in Baltimore were way higher than what they put up. But again, it's the marathon of the season. I still think they got a chance to bounce back. So absolutely, I'd take the field if you're giving me a choice between those two.
For the record, I don't think the Indiana Pacers, just go to Basketball Fest, are a Cinderella story if they win. I think it could be a great upset. They win Game 7 on the road, but they were up 2-1 in the series. The reason I don't look at them as a Cinderella if they win it is because I think they were just incredibly undervalued based on who the other teams were that they'd had to get through. Boston, OKC. Like, I think their odds, Scotty, were so low, not because of how bad they were, it was because how good the top was.
I get that, but Anthony, you're talking about they were 66-1 at the start of the season, or 80-1 to start at the playoffs. That's a Cinderella story based on the odds.
The numbers do say that.
Yeah. Oh, okay, Jensen, one other thing. So this earlier in the show, first hour, we had Jim Tressel on, and we were talking to him a little bit about memorabilia from his career at Ohio State, winning that national championship. I asked him if there was anything that he still had from that championship run that he is a prized possession to him, and he said it was a binder that he kept, which was kind of a binder with all of the details of the run to the championship and kind of the itinerary of their travels and all that stuff. And I thought that was kind of an interesting piece of memorabilia to keep. Let me ask you, as a professional athlete, is there a piece of memorabilia that you keep and you have as a prize from your career?
Yeah. There's a good amount, guys. Obviously, all my jerseys, that in and of itself, because some of them are discontinued right now. Obviously, with Cleveland changing the name. I'll tell you a unique one, and I as I sit here in my office, I have it encased behind me. My late grandfather collected every single article from the Cleveland Plain Dealer, and also from down in Akron, from anything that had me mentioned in it. And after he passed, it was sort of bequeathed to me, if you will. And I have yet to go through the whole thing, but I got through the top, and of course you can imagine how emotional it was just seeing it. At some point I'll go through all of it, but it was so cool. And guys, in such our digital age, right, to actually hold, newspaper again and to see, your name in print and just go back to the memories then. Such a unique thing from a year I'll certainly never forget.
Yeah, Scotty kept the snapped 6-iron when he. That's one of the memories of when he was as emotional as ever. Are you mad that the Guardians can't close out a sweep? Is that frustrating?
Again, Anthony, I told you for a while now, I thought this team was a fraud just offensively, and I think the back end of their bullpen, as we get later into the season, you don't go the amount of leverage innings that a lot of those big guns did year over year and just rely on that to be something that is going to happen yet again. So credit where it's due. Class A, body of work, amazing. Cade Smith, unbelievable year. Hunter Gaddis been really good too, but I just don't know. You don't give your team a lot of wiggle room with that kind of offense. And when you get into close games with good teams, and San Francisco, talk about not being able to close out the sweep, they've got the best bullpen in baseball this year. So it doesn't surprise me. I think we're in for some overs, though, actually, here as they get to Sacramento tonight. And wouldn't be surprised if the offense carries the day on both sides.
You got a best bet for us?
Okay, so for Red Legs fans out there, I do like the over 9 tonight. Brady Singer, Andre Palante, do like the over there. Maybe down to 8.5 in some places. So shop around for the best part or better of the number. I am going to be on the Twins -1. Jacob Mizrowski getting us another start there for Milwaukee. The Phenom 101, 102 starter. It's just absolutely wicked, the mechanics there. I do like the White Sox. If you want to go a little hairy here, White Sox +1.5 north of the border against Toronto. I do feel that they're a little scrappy bunch there, that you might be able to get a little look ahead there from the Blue Jays. And I would also throw in, let me take a look at the rest of the board. I'd take the Tigers and the Rays under 8.5. I think you can see some great pitching from both those teams tonight, sure.
All right, my man, always great to have you aboard. Have a great weekend. We'll talk soon.
Likewise, boys. Have fun.
Thanks. Jensen Lewis with us, tossing some chin music. The Bryant Heating Coin Systems Fan Guest Hotline. We come back with Tell the Truth to wrap it up. Rothman Ice and the Fan.
All the 10 TV people come over to our side of the building to take a deuce. That should tell you something about how we operate. The Fan.
career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify.
When sudden illness or injury strike, Ohio State offers 3 types of urgent care to meet any of your needs. From traditional urgent care to our specialized orthopedic urgent care for activity-related injuries and advanced urgent care for more serious injury and illness. Ohio State's experts treat everything from broken bones to ear infections and colds and flu. When your illness or injury can't wait, the choice is clear.
Looking to launch a career in the skilled trades but don't know where to begin? Part-time service in the Ohio Army National Guard can help. You can kickstart your career by enlisting in one of our many trades-based jobs. Get paid to learn these skills and gain on-the-job training when you report to your unit 1 weekend a month or 2 weeks in the summer. To learn how the Guard can pay for your civilian trade certification, visit nationalguard.com/OH. Sponsored by the Ohio Army National Guard in coordination with the Ohio Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Summer is finally here. That means long days, warm nights, barbecues, sporting events, and that vacation you've been planning for months. The last thing you want to deal with is a leaking roof or unexpected damage to your home. At Newman Roofing, we understand that life gets busy and your time is important. And that's why we designed our entire process around you. Whether it's your roof, siding, or gutters, we believe in doing things the right way, not the rushed way. No high-pressure sales, no pushy pitches, just honest conversations from professionals who respect your time and your home. When you call Newman Roofing, here's what you can expect. First, we'll take time to diagnose the issue, not just slap on a quick fix. Then we'll present clear, quality solutions and answer your questions so you can make the best decision for your family and your budget. And right now, we're offering special financing options so you can protect your home without putting your summer plans on hold. So go ahead, fire up the grill, pack your bags, or hit the ball field. Let Newman Roofing take care of the rest. Call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF or visit online at newmanroofing.com. Don't just get a new roof, get a Newman roof.
Excuse me, did someone say jackpot? The Ohio Lottery's Mega Millions jackpot is up to $302 million. You heard that right, $302 million. Jackpots start at $50 million and grow faster than ever. And drawings are every Tuesday and Friday. With the new built-in multiplier, all non-jackpot prizes are multiplied between 2 and 10 times. Play Mega Millions today.
Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly. If only there was a radio show that constantly talked about Ohio State athletics. Well, good news. It's real, baby. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
Proud to be your flagship home of the Buckeyes. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
This just in from the Lindsay Honda Newsroom. It's our big anniversary sale. 0% for up to 60 months has been extended on all new Hondas. Drive a new 2025 CR-V LX all-wheel drive with 0% financing.
Lower your rate, lower your payment.
Save thousands on hundreds of new Hondas when you buy now.
With so many Hondas, why would you go anywhere else?
Shop the big, the beautiful Lindsay Honda now. Visit lindsayhonda.com for details.
Let's be honest, we could all use a little vacation from the ordinary. But with Tim Hortons' new refreshers, you don't need to pack your bags. Just sip, relax, and enjoy your refreshing 16-ounce vacation. With tropical mango packed with real pineapple and mango pieces. And strawberry watermelon kiwi featuring real pieces of strawberry and kiwi. Also, try it with lemonade or coconut milk. A choose-your-own taste bud adventure. Head to Tim's for the new refreshers. Your 16-ounce vacation awaits. Only at your neighborhood Tim Hortons. At participating U.S. restaurants.
Want to know anything about the Fans contest, how to win, or what's up for grabs? Check out 971thefan.com. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Tell the truth with Rothman and Ice.
Sponsored by Window Nation. Now buy 4 windows, get 4 free. Plus a free entry door with a house of windows. Visit windownation.com.
All right, little wrapping up, tell the truth time. TLC, take us home.
Rothman, I have a gift for you.
All right. We welcome you back. Second hour of the program, Rothman and Ice. Iceman out today, Jeff Thidoff in. I'm Anthony Rothman, and we're at the Gigi's Drive for Dogs golf outing here at Cumberland Trail Golf Club and the Cumberland Trail Bar and Grill in Pataskala. and one of my favorite people I've ever had a chance to cover here in my 3 decades at Ohio State, and it's a man who guided this program to a national championship, 6 Big Ten championships. You trying to add 10 more years to my life?
3 or 4, Rothman. I wasn't
yes,
sure.
no, we're closing in on 30.
Okay.
Not 40.
Right,
4 different decades.
That's right.
4 different decades. You're right. Yeah, it's the Rusty Staubs thing. Yeah, 4 different decades. You played 4 different decades. You're good.
My man, Jim Tressel. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Anthony.
Yes, thank you.
Ice, good to see you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so where do we start? All right. That was last year's intro.
2 years ago.
2 years ago, I'm sorry. Losing track. And Tress didn't know who my co-host was, and we started the show, and he assumed whoever I was doing the show with was Ice. And Fidoff kind of went along with it.
Yeah.
And later on in the program, though, Fidoff did your question about the speech at the shot. Except Fidoff said, when you gave the speech at St. John Arena, and Tress looked at him and goes, how old do you think I am? Am I Lynn St. John? So that was pretty fun. So thank you for that. I've been wanting to hear that for a while. The reason it didn't happen today.
I'm about to say, tell the truth on why we didn't have a repeat.
Yeah. Because Tress decided to hang out with us basically 20 minutes before the program.
It was like an hour.
And then I said to him before the show, and then I said on the air, I said, usually we don't begin the show with a guest, but I'm like, you're here, lead off home run, let's go. Like basically we did a show before the show.
It was incredible. The fact that I'm sitting here at Cumberland Trail for about 45 minutes before the show starts, and we're just hanging out with Jim Tressel and getting all these stories and getting all the talk. I mean, it was incredible. What a day.
Scotty wanted to somehow go into Tress's, I don't know, treasure chest and buy his game-used sweater vest, game soiled with Gatorade sweater vest.
I do want to know where that went to. Like
he said, Ohio State sold it.
Yeah, I know.
Or they gave it to something.
That's disappointing because I would love to see that sweater vest covered in
with the Gatorade.
Gatorade, yeah.
It's all dried up, Scotty.
That's all right.
Yeah. All right, TLC, that's pretty funny. Good stuff. That's the only reason he didn't look at him and say, Ice, good to see you.
That's not the only reason.
Mini Fidoff.
That's not the only reason, because I had you guys in queue when the intro was playing, and he asked him, are you Ice?
He did ask.
Oh, he did.
He did.
That's
are you
right.
Ice? Yes, that's right.
You didn't tape that, did you?
No.
Oh, damn. That was recorded?
No,
because every time I'm bringing some indiscriminate co-host with me, and every year he's going to say, no, you're Ice. No, I'm Ice.
Ice, good to see you.
And then I had to be the idiot, like, no, it's Scotty Vegas. Like,
you should have said,
and,
yes, I'm Ice.
Yeah.
And we could have kept the joke going. Oh. No, I wouldn't do that, Tim.
I got one more for you here. So I don't know if you mentioned with J-Lu that Dodgers and Padres game and how Yamamoto almost had the immaculate inning. There was also something else going on with that because on Tuesday there was a little bit of a deal where Ohtani and Tatis both got plunked, and then last night Tatis gets plunked again. So 2 days after, so that's twice in the series that one of the Padres' best player, he gets hit. And he gets hit on the wrist, and he goes down. He's got to get X-rays, and so they respond. They flood the field. They're running out from the bullpens, and there was a little bit of an argument between the managers in that one. And then right after that, they go back and plunk Ohtani again. So the Padres and Dodgers are kind of going back and forth, and there's kind of that situation where you got to figure out, like, is there intent behind it or not? And here's what Padres manager Mike Schultz had to say, and he kind of doubled down on throwing out at Ohtani on purpose.
Did you think the pitch was intentional to hit Tatis tonight in that spot?
I'd like to think not. Only a couple people know that. And whether it was or it wasn't, enough is enough. You know, we got a guy that's getting x-rays right now. It's one of the best players in the game, of course, on our team. And this guy's has taken shots. Okay? And before this series, you know, and I can back this up with complete evidence, you know, track records speak for themselves. The teams that I manage don't get into altercations like this because teams I manage don't throw at people. but also teams I manage don't take anything. And after a while, I'm not going to take it. And I'm not going to take it on behalf of Toddy. I'm not going to take it on behalf of our team, intentional or unintentional. It's really that simple. That's how this game's played. And you want to call that old school, then yeah, we'll play old school baseball.
Basically doubled down on throwing out Ohtani on purpose. What do you make of it?
I don't like it. I think the whole repaying it's definitely old school. I'm not going to deny that, but the batter's at such a disadvantage. It's such a, to me, it's strike them out. Do something different. I don't like when guys throw at each other on purpose, but I know it's part of the game. I just think the batter's at such a massive disadvantage.
Yeah, you know what? I want to tell this real quick before we head out of here, too. We've got a big event with the fan tomorrow. I'm really excited for it. It is the 9.71K. There's a 5K. There's a 1-mile walk. It's going to be a blast. If you have not signed up for it, you can still sign up at 971therace.com. You can still sign up. You can be last minute. You can join us tomorrow morning, Otterbein University. It's going to be so much fun. Cole, I hear you're running in it. This is going to be a great time. So, again, 971therace.com. You can still get in on it.
Thanks, everybody, for putting this together today out at Gigi's. The tradition continues. Thanks to Jim Tressel, Cardale Jones, Jean-Luc Grandpierre, and the whole crew here at Cumberland Trail Golf Course. Thank you, and keep supporting those shelter dogs. Rothman Ice on the Fan.
Common man, a radio veteran, has a large hemorrhoid. Timmy Hall, a good, clean boy, moonlights as man's hemorrhoid. Common Man and Timmy.
Weekdays at 3.
The Fan.
At QC Kinetics, we're all about keeping you in the game, helping you get lasting relief from joint pain. That's why we're excited to announce that QC Kinetics is now partnering with the National Pickleball League. So many of our satisfied patients are avid pickleball players, and they're thrilled with how we've helped them get back on the court. As lead sponsor of the National Pickleball League, we're committed to help pickleball fans of all ages with the latest, most advanced regenerative cell treatments. These treatments use your body's own healing power, revitalizing and restoring damaged joint tissue the natural way, with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. Whether you're a pickleball fanatic or enjoy golf or running or tennis, stay in the game with help from QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics, proud to promote active, pain-free living as a lead sponsor of the National Pickleball League. Call now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544.
Hi, this is Bob Masheter from Dick Masheter Ford. Thank you to all of Central Ohio as we head towards 60 years of doing business in the Buckeye State. Dad opened up in 1967 simply trying to offer a better way to buy a car, and we've been working ever since to serve our neighbors. We have served you through wars, recessions, and even a Chinese virus. Here is to serving you and your kids and your grandkids for the next 60 years, except on Sundays when we're closed, because it's the right thing to do. Still 24/7 at masheterford.net. Thanks.
Don't sweat it. Call Care Heating and Cooling, and we'll fix your air conditioner fast. 1-800-COOLING.
Hey folks, it's Austin Ward here, and I remember the first time I understood that old saying about giving a man a fish. It made so much sense, and I see examples of it all the time. Take the new weight loss meds, for instance. Think about this. You take a shot, you eat less, and you lose weight. But the second you stop, the weight comes back. You never actually changed anything besides eating less of the same bad things. I wasn't interested in renting my results. I wanted to own them. That's why I chose Awaken 180. I needed a lifestyle change, I knew it, and I was excited about it. A medication-free path to long-term weight loss. That's exactly what I got. It's been a year and a half since I dropped my 50 pounds, and I've kept it all off. Awaken 180 taught me how to adjust my approach to food. A real-time education on how to keep it off while losing the weight. I say, learn how to fish. It's easy, it's fast. And for the long-term bonus, no medications. Do what I did and choose the solution for weight loss. Awaken180weightloss.com, 844-346-1800.
Hey, it's Anthony. Comfort is king. We all strive for it, but life gets in the way. You know that. And oh, my aching feet is not just a cliche. That's why the Good Feet store, in my opinion, has the best arch support solutions engineered to help you and me live the life we love without pain. For more than 30 years, they've taken great pleasure in helping thousands discover the comfort they've been dreaming of. I'm a customer. I have their 3-step system put right into all my shoes. They support, balance, and strengthen my feet and really guide them right into their ideal position. Every step I take, every move I make, I get relief. Not from the song, although I love that, but from my personally fit arch supports from the Good Feet store. Your free fitting is designed to help them understand you, your pain, and your discomfort, your personalized system. You'll walk out wearing your new arch supports hassle-free and begin living the life you love without pain. The Good Feet store on Stringtown Road in Grove City or Polaris Parkway. Learn more at goodfeet.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to Hims.com/joy. HIMS.com/JOY.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Hereeth my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
With rates as low as 5.54% APR and a $400 cash bonus when you refinance with BMI Federal Credit Union, now is the perfect time to take advantage of the BMI FCU Summer Savings Event. Visit bmifcu.org/refinance for more details.